So did I. We double lived.
Sweet.
We're very, very live.
We're so live. We double live, yo.
And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. 3 hours of sports talk radio excellence begins right now. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. It is great to be with you on a glorious Upstate Tuesday afternoon. We hail from the upstate of South Carolina, but of course broadcast around the world via our internet site, thefanupstate.com, via your smart speakers and other intelligent devices. Say, hey, Siri or Alexa or Google or my Alexa at home, computer, because I'm a nerd. But you say, hey, play 97.7 The Fan Upstate, and she'll go, boom, playing 97.7 The Fan Upstate.
Wait, you can change the command to computer?
Uh-huh. Sure can.
That's kind of cool.
Sure can. We got two in the house. The lady friend's got one on her bedside. I've got one on mine. And that's how we distinguish. Mine is computer. Hers is Alexa. Alexa, play 97.7 The Fan Upstate. And it works like a dream.
And with one on either side, it's easier for your AI overlords to actually control you as you sleep.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I learned earlier that apparently the next election is already decided because one party, quote, has mind control of everyone through phones/tech industry, end quote.
We're all ruled by lizard people and birds aren't real. And chemtrails can't happen today because it's overcast.
Yeah. No, see, that's where you're missing up. That's how they throw us off. The clouds are just one big chem blanket.
Wow.
It's Kim Cloud.
It's a Kim.
Yeah.
Kim blanket.
Kim Cloud.
Kim Cloud's
Yep.
Totally different person.
Ladies and gentlemen, glad to have you along for the ride. I am Rob Brown. The other voice you hear is that, of course, of Colonel Grudge, #DadKicks. He is the alpha and the omega of the Fan Upstate, the conductor of the symphony of sound that is the Rob Brown Show. He is the professor of perfection, the wizard of wave, the great one, Lonzo, at the board today. What's up, Zo?
I'm rocking the Fan T-shirt and hat, which we were required by management to wear both together. Rob only wore the hat yesterday, and I got a strongly worded email, so I had to make up for it by wearing them both today. So hopefully it will ease some tension.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
You know, someday we're going to get out and about and be public again, and maybe someone else would have a chance to, win some of this stuff.
By the way, and I will announce it probably tomorrow, but I think we have a winner of the Mullet contest.
I was asked about that, and I said, judging isn't easy, and it took
some time.
Yeah,
took some time. There was a lot of conditions that had to be met. There were, as I talked to the judges, they had numerous other background questions like, well, can I include this as part of the environment? Can I include this as a variable? I feel like maybe these sideburns are a little bit too long not to be considered part of the haircut. Do I give them credit or not? And we had to basically kind of work. This was the first ever mullet hunt that we've ever done. So yeah, we had to answer some questions.
And there was a major question about whether relatives were exempt or not, and
Yep.
had to answer that. And I'm not going to say what the final answer on that was, but if you're related to one of the judges, you'll know if you won.
Texas said also a lot of conditioner in those mullets. Again, do you care about the mullet? Zoe, you got great hair. Do you condition?
I don't care about what I wear. I don't care about my hair other than it's a way to troll old people. So I just recently was advised by the person who cut my hair to use a different shampoo. and I tried it. That's the first time I've actually cared. Conditioner is an accident. Like, oh man, I thought that was shampoo. That's what that is.
No, man, you got to. I'm a conditioner. You got to condition. You got to condition. The hair
How long does your shower take if you have to put conditioner in there? I'm very timed. I do this at this time, this at this time. In my morning, I get up, I do my cardio. I'm done by this time. My tater tots are cooking. I have 10 minutes in the shower and dressed and out with 5 minutes left on my tater tots so I can put in a half of an English muffin, whole grain, by the way. And then I'm packing my lunch. I have everything timed out. I don't have time to put conditioner in there.
First off,
I've always been regimented that way ever since high school.
You're allowed to change your routine. You're not obligated to stick with it. You can change it at any point.
Changing routine could cause a bad day.
I am a hot shower until I run out of hot water guy. Like just
wow.
Yeah.
So much for the Green New Deal for you, huh?
It is 2022, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't care if the world runs out of water.
We recycle it. It's not like it goes away. It gets recycled, man.
What, do you have something?
If we hit drought status, I'll shorten it up, but
so how long does it take? If you got a good sized hot water tank, that's a long shower.
I got about 17 minutes. 17 to 20 minutes.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You take a 17-minute shower?
You're damn right I do.
Man.
You're damn right I do. I have the ability to. Why would I not? I have the ability. I have the hot water. There's absolutely not much that feels better than a hot shower.
You could cut that in half and be more productive with that time.
Right. I could do lots of things that would make I could jog, I could eat salads.
No, jogging's not necessary. Just a brisk walk. You don't even have to do the power walk thing unless you just want to make people laugh.
There's a lot of things I could do to make my life better, but I like my life as it is, so I don't do those things.
Does the AI at night tell you that you need to condition your hair and be in the shower for 17 minutes?
No, my AI has no control over my schedule. Like at one point, you can set your bedtime routine. It's like, okay, Alexa, at 9 o'clock, turn down the lights and start playing classical music and do this and do that. And I set that once and it lasted about a day because I'm like, no.
Can you go to sleep to music? I can't.
Have to have something.
If I go to sleep to music, I'm listening going, okay, what is that kind of reverb on that drum? What is that a cello? I mean, it just, my mind would, I don't know the lyrics to this song. Maybe if I listen more intently, I can know the lyrics.
Nope.
Yeah, nope. I can't. Well,
but that's the whole premise of of comfort sounds, right? Like the other thing I'll do is I'll turn on The Office because I've seen every episode. I know what every next line is.
I will do that. The other night I was having trouble sleeping, and so Lost Boys was on, so I turned it on because I knew I would go to sleep with it on.
Yeah, that's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get to some sprots on the show today, and let me begin with the saga of Kyrie. Kyrie, can you just be normal for a minute, Kyrie? Can you just be normal for a second? Let's break down what actually happened with Kyrie. Kyrie Irving considered not signing his player option, worth about $36 million, and leaving the Brooklyn Nets. That was the report. Kyrie was going to be out on Brooklyn. He was going to head somewhere else. Kyrie was going to test the waters of the free agent market and force Brooklyn effectively into a sign and trade, right? That was the plan for Kyrie. Kyrie floated his name. And after doing so, one team was interested. The LA Lakers. See, what had happened was that Kyrie genuinely thought that the NBA was going to fall over backwards, that there was going to be team after team after team after team after team after team looking to bring Kyrie Irving into play for their squad. What actually happened was that the Lakers chimed in and went, yo, flat earther, We'll give you $6 million to come play with Braun and AD. 6. His player option with the Nets is worth about 36. Now, Shams Charania, I believe I pronounced that right, but Shams has been big. He's like the new Woj. Shams Charania said, Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving is opting into his $37 million playing option for the 22-23 season, according to The Athletic and Stadium. Irving is bypassing on, quote, multiple opt-in and trade scenarios, end quote, to fulfill his 4-year commitment to the Nets and Kevin Durant. I saw, and Shams is good. I trust him. He's been a good source. But I also saw Woj bomb that LA was the only team that had made an offer for a sign and trade for Kyrie. They offered about $6 million, meaning he'd have dropped $30 million in order to sign to play with LeBron and AD. So instead decides to pick up the $36 million player option to play with KD, to stick with Kevin Durant and the Nets. And then he tweets, and I quote, normal people keep the world going, but those who dare to be different lead us into tomorrow. I've made my decision to opt in. See you in the fall.
He's kind of right, though. I mean, I mean, people who dare to take chances are the ones who see the future and make the future happen, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that part he's right about.
You know what the problem with that is? Because it is philosophically correct. You know what the problem with that is? You get people like him who have really bad opinions and spout untrue things as facts, and then they go, I dare to be different. I am special. No, you're not, dude. The globe's round.
The real reason why he didn't go to L.A. is he knows it's close to the edge of the earth, and he doesn't want to fall off.
He doesn't want to fall off. That makes sense.
We know that.
The crypto.com arena, obviously. One large cat, poof, knock it right off the edge.
There you go.
Stop it, Kyrie. You know what the problem I have with social media? You know what the problem is that I have with social media? It's not everybody goes, social media is bad. It's the bad. It's the bad thing. It's the bad. It's really not. It's really not. Social media in and of itself is a good thing. It's a skull. It's a pirate skull.
I finally saw it. I saw the tentacles, or it looked like tentacles.
It's like rope.
Is it? Okay.
It's pirate skull. Yeah.
I mean, it's just a way. It's just a way to get people to stare at you.
Correct.
That's
correct.
Good job.
The problem with social media is not that social media is bad. The problem with social media is that it puts everybody on the same footing. And that includes people who are dumb and people who are bad and people who say bad things. Now, I'm not talking about people with different philosophical opinions or political opinions or religious opinions. I've got friends of every spectrum of all of those things that I've made exclusively off of social media.
I don't know. You kind of had a condescending tone when you talked about all those opinions.
I know. Again, not to keep calling the same guy out. I'll give you multiple examples. I met Keegan through social media. Keegan's become one of my best friends in the area, Michael Stathakis. He and I don't agree on a damn thing except getting beer at a bar at 10 p.m. is fun, and we should do that a lot. Right? Other than that, we don't agree on anything.
I was talking about Keegan the other day, and I was pointing out the differences when I met him, he acted like he already knew me, and that was cool.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, I mean, so,
and these are people I met through social media. Social media in and of itself is not bad. The problem is that people go on social media and spout dumb theories as fact and feel like they're right. You know who Patton Oswalt is? Big nerd comedian. Love Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, he's all right.
Love Patton Oswalt. Patton Oswalt did a whole skit where he's like, the premise of we have to respect everybody's opinion.
Oh, so you're not doing the Star Wars thing that actually came
which
true.
Was amazing.
Which actually came true
really
eventually.
Did.
So
it really did. Patton Oswalt has a whole skit where he points out that we have to listen to everybody's opinion. We do not have to respect them, right? You have to listen to everyone's opinion, but you do not have to respect.
See, I disagree.
Opinion.
You don't have
Really?
to. You don't have to listen to everyone's
So
opinion.
if somebody comes out and says black guys better than white guys, do I need to respect that opinion? No, screw that
no,
guy.
no,
It's
no.
a bad opinion. You're a bad dude.
You missed the point. You don't have to listen.
Oh,
to
you don't have to
everyone.
listen to everybody.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You immediately went to the part that I didn't say.
Fair enough.
You don't have to listen to every opinion.
And that's a good opinion.
If you're on a radio station other than this one, because you should never turn it off, and something that you don't like, well, you just turn it to another station. If someone's giving you an opinion, you respectfully just smile, shake their hand, do whatever, walk away, or you can just walk away while they're talking. You can do that. I know it's kind of disrespectful, but you don't respect their opinion. You might as well just walk away.
Here's the thing. I think you should always challenge yourself. Your opinion, you should want your opinion challenged. Your opinion being challenged is how you shape your beliefs to comport with reality. That's important. It is important to. I have listened to literal lectures from flat earthers, not because they're right, they're dumb and wrong, but because I genuinely want to know what makes you feel that way. Right?
I'm about to leave this room because you used the word comport, and it's just too intellectual for me. I can't take it. I have never been anywhere where flat earthing was actually
a thing.
They were talking about it seriously.
I'll give you
Because I'm pretty good at not laughing, not cracking when it comes to things. There's no way I could not laugh. That would be one of those things I'd have to walk away from.
No, I've absolutely had a conversation with someone who genuinely, truly believes the earth is flat. Because I wanted to know why. Because if you know why they believe that, you can then present them with evidence and reality that beats their opinion down. And if they elect to continue to hold that position, they're disingenuous. They're dishonest.
See, the thing about that, and this goes for sports opinions too sometimes. Sometimes people are so steadfast in what they believe, even if it's stupid, that it's a waste of your time to argue with them. Because you're not going to get through to them. If you believe the earth is flat, you're not going to change their mind.
Oh, no, there's a cat. Did you see the, and I promise this is coming back around to Kyrie, so stick with me, okay? Hold out with me here. Did you see the documentary on Netflix about the flat earthers?
No, because I have no interest in watching stupidity. That's what I'm saying.
It is called Behind the Curve, okay? It's on Netflix. It follows a cat by the name of Mark Sargent, who is like the Pope of the flat earthers, right? Lonzo, I sat down to watch it with a genuine intrigue of why do these people believe this? And it turned into an absolute comedy show. It's an SNL skit, but with people who genuinely believe they're right. And throughout the episode, it's just people pointing out, no, that's wrong. And the best part is at the very end, somebody convinces Mark Sargent and his crew into doing a scientific experiment that would genuinely prove to them that the world is round or flat, right? So they take these two big posts, they cut a hole in both, and they're going to shine a laser. And basically, the poles are at the same length, and if you shine a laser through the hole and the world is flat, the laser should obviously come through the hole on the other side. But it doesn't. And then they raise the laser up to the exact height that it would need to be for it to go through the hole on the other side if the world is round, and the laser comes through the hole. And he's like, oh, obviously, the laser is wrong. Yes, the laser. The thing that only works if it's right is wrong, right? And that is it.
One of them, they're crooked lasers.
It's one. Yeah, it must be hitting a mirror in the atmosphere. Swamp gas off of Venus. All right. So the point of all that is, when people get to that stage, you're right. Some people become lost. It becomes more important to hold on. And I genuinely believe that people like Mark Sargent, the flat earth dude, and people like Kyrie get into a point where the reason they believe what they believe isn't even necessarily because they for sure believe it, but because it builds this world around them in which they're comfortable, right? Like Mark Sargent's a loser in real life. Man's in his 50s, lives in his mom's basement, has absolutely nothing going for him, except until he became the leading voice of the flat earth movement. And now people give him money to go to these conventions and talk to people. And now he's got a life. He's got a social life. I don't believe Mark Sargent believes the world's flat. I think it has created a world in which he has friends. And if that goes away, if he ever admits the world is round and he's not a flat earther, he loses friends and he goes back to being a 55-year-old loser living in his mom's basement, right? Kyrie has created this character that keeps us all talking about him. If we were just talking about Kyrie Irving, the basketball player, what will we be talking about? Well, he's not Kevin Durant. He's not LeBron James. He's not Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's good, but he's not in that. I mean, he's really good, but he's not necessarily in that premier, that elite, that top level.
There was a time where his projection was to be that.
Absolutely.
When he was with Cleveland. He was labeled as having one of the best handles in all of basketball, clutch shooter when you need him, all that kind of stuff, and all the off the court things have taken away from that.
Correct.
When he puts his mind to it and he's on the court and he's ready to play, he is one of the best players in all of basketball.
Kyrie Irving is 30 years old. You're right. There were a lot of pluses to this guy. A lot of pluses to this guy. There was a lot that this guy could have, should have, would have done. And it never hit, right? When he was with Braun, he was Braun's sidekick. When he went out on his own, he was never mentioned in that mix. Now he's with the Nets. And why is he with the Nets? He's with Kevin Durant. He was with James Harden. He's
got Scottie Pippen syndrome.
Correct.
He's played with really good guys, and he thinks he should be the guy,
Correct.
and he can be the guy. And some people are always made to be a sidekick.
Correct. And that's okay. But what happened to Kyrie? Kyrie decided, well, if I can't get attention by being the number one, I got to come up with something else. So now Kyrie believes the earth is flat. And despite the fact that everybody else on his team, and again, I know that this is a personal decision and all that, but Kyrie decided, yeah, I'd rather play half my team's game and cost them a playoff seed that the rest of my guys are busting their asses to get, right? It's always about Kyrie off the court. Hey, Kyrie, you want to know why there was only one team willing to do a sign and trade and they were only willing to pay you $6 million a year? It's because you're a distraction, my guy, because you have made it all about you away from the court so much that has diminished what you return on it. We have to pay so much attention to the PR spectacle of Kyrie away from the basketball floor that what you do on it ain't worth it anymore. That's why one team was willing to sign and trade for you, and they were willing to pay you 1/6 of what your salary is. That's why. All right, we'll check back in with that later on. I got plenty more that we need to get to. Lonzo's at the controls. He is the voice of the show. I am just the dude that's here. My name is Rob Brown. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show. You're listening to the Fan Upstate.
I don't know why I bother. Even if I do hit it, there's music behind it, and it doesn't sound right. What?
All right, coming back. Did you see the thing for Cena last night?
Yes, but I don't want to talk about it.
Because you're saving it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
All I
like
was gonna say is
it's like the only thing I have right
gotcha,
now
okay.
for something.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Got it. 10-4.
Obviously, there are some things that you and I are on the same wavelength.
FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Did you know there's a space channel?
One of the most exciting projects in the solar system.
Space Channel's got movies, original series, news, music, and
Speaking of, I think the James Webb Telescope is supposed to start operating in the next couple of weeks. That's pretty exciting.
Is it more powerful than the Hubble?
Dramatically.
So what you're saying is the end is near. When the other world the aliens that you don't believe exist, see that we know they exist now, they invade and kill us all.
The cool thing is we're gonna point it initially at the supermassive black hole in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy and see what it looks like.
What if there's an eyeball?
The Eye of Sauron.
it's like, no.
Never mind. Turn it back around. Turn it back around.
We've had a malfunction. I don't know what's happened. We're going to have to dismantle this thing.
Fonzie says Lonzo is the man.
I appreciate that. Taking a risk here. Have you tried it? I don't know.
I have not tried it.
I don't know. Not only is it raspberry, it's blue raspberry.
You know which one I have tried that I really like is the red, white, and blue pop.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I've kind of avoided that because
pretty good.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So if there's a lot of something, I'm thinking, okay, no one likes it, but
You know
it could
what
be
really
no one's
sucks?
willing
You
to
know
try
which
it.
one I can't find anymore? I can't find cherry vanilla anywhere. Anywhere. Yes, where are you getting them? Give me your secrets. I can't find those anywhere. Freaking holdout.
I could tell you where I found it. I got 2 places, actually.
You holdout.
Obviously, it's at Walmart.
Yeah.
Go to the one in Simpsonville.
Okay.
It's not that far of a drive for you, at least from here. I mean, if you want to go an extra 6 or 7 minutes down the road just to find your favorite flavor.
I do.
That's where I got that at.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show's back on the radio. This is the Fan Upstate. I'm Rob. He's Zoe. Hey, Gamecocks fans, I got to tell you, you guys are kind of killing the recruiting game in the Sunshine State right now. How about South Carolina kind of killing the game in Florida right now? Another South Carolina piece added. 4-star linebacker Grayson Howard. They call him Pup. Pup. Signed for the 2023 class yesterday. How about this? Pup Howard had offers from Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Arkansas, FSU, LSU, and Tennessee, among several others. Spent an official visit in Columbia this weekend. Got back to the house, and on Monday said, yep, good enough for me. I'm a Gamecock.
I'm not trying to disparage a nickname, but I saw that a bunch, and I'm like, that's got to be, that's someone's saying Pep Howard, and they spelled it wrong. So it's Pup Howard.
That's
okay.
what it looks like to me.
Cool.
What it looks like to me. Grayson Pup Howard, 4-star linebacker for the 2023 class of South Carolina, the latest of a number of Gamecocks that have come out of the Sunshine State. They signed 4 players out of Florida in the 2022 class, and the 2023 class could have more. They've already notched commitments from 3 other Florida prospects. 4-star athlete Kelton Henderson, who is a could play anywhere on the field guy. They've also got 3-star tight end Connor Cox and 3-star safety Cameron Upshaw, all signed to the 2023 class. Pup Howard recorded a team-high 157 tackles and 14 of them for a loss, had a pair of picks, 3.5 sacks as a junior. He also notched over 100 tackles in 9 games in 2020 and was named a Florida Times Union All-First Coast third-team selection for his efforts. The Jacksonville product rated the number 17 linebacker overall, the number 249 player in the 2023 class, according to 24/7 Sports. Obviously, the Gamecocks have some needs at linebacker. Brad Johnson, Sherrod Green set to exhaust their eligibility after this year, so both of those spots will need to be replenished. Now, South Carolina did sign four-star linebacker Stone Blanton and former Georgia commit Donovan Westmoreland in the 22 class. Irmo product Nick Emanwari could also play as a linebacker at the college level as well. So not just Florida, but a lot of linebackers coming in. That's big time.
You know, as someone who pulls for the Gamecocks, there was when you would see Will Muschamp throw up on Twitter or something that he signed someone, all I would think of is, okay, there's someone who's going to underachieve. Because of coaching, they're going to get out there and they're going to watch people run by, and they're not going to, even though they could have possibly developed into a good player, they never were going to under Muschamp. When I see Beamer signing someone, I'm like, man, these kids have a chance. Whether you were excited about his hiring or not, he has brought something, some sort of weird energy to the Gamecocks. Will it translate to wins? I hope so. But this is, again, when I see him posting Spurs up, I'm like, okay, all right, this is someone who really wants to come to South Carolina, and I can't wait to see how they play.
I'll tell you right now, and I'm not saying this to be a kiss butt or whatever, but there's a something around South Carolina right now, right? There's an energy, right?
You know, there was this same kind of energy a few years ago when Spurrier first got there. Same kind of things. Will we have the same kind of results? I don't know, but it seems to be trending that way. They actually have to win some more games, and we got to see what it looks like on the field. But as far as recruiting goes, this has been an awesome offseason.
Was this buzz? And I imagine that it was not. You know, I was down in Florida when South Carolina hired Will Muschamp. And when so obviously being down in Florida territory, when South Carolina hired Will Muschamp, and obviously I wasn't in the market, but at that point, my response was, what? So let me get this right. He wasn't good enough to cut it at another school in your division, and you've decided that cast off is the guy you want to go. I didn't get, now, remember, I was not on board with the Beamer hire when it happened, remember? I was like, I don't know, man. And it's not even so much about the experience as I don't know if he's the guy that you need at this spot. But I will say,
you know what really sparked everything was that bowl game. I just out of the blue, the stuff that they did on offense, it just shocked everybody.
I think you're right. I think the bowl game is what started the buzz for this offseason, right? You looked at that bowl game and you went, Demis team's got something special, right? They wanted that game. They put up a fight there. Not that it erased getting your asses kicked by Clemson to end the year, right? But you go back, and I was in Willie B for the Florida game, right? I was in there for the Florida game where they didn't just beat Florida, though. I mean, they beat Florida.
Well, Florida's a lesser team, been a lesser team for a really long time. I don't know how anyone could pull for that team. I really don't. I get the Clemson thing because Clemson has won national championships recently and things like that. But Florida, I mean, you got to be a diehard to actually root for that team.
So I agree that Florida was a mid-team last year, but so were the Gamecocks.
Last year, they've been a mid-team for a long time. I mean, who's more up and coming, Florida or Tennessee?
Fair.
I mean, what a joke.
But post Muschamp, it's not exactly like South Carolina was like clearly in a hierarchy tier above Florida, right? They were in the same tier, and they smoked them. I go back and I look South Carolina. South Carolina beat Auburn. Auburn was not a bad team last year. Auburn gave Bama everything they wanted last year, and Auburn and South Carolina beat them, right? The Mizzou game was a huge, are you serious? The Tennessee game was a big, are you serious? But there is and I think Zoe's right. I think those couple of wins towards the end of the year, piled with the bowl game, kind of got a little buzz going. And now I think it's becoming clear Shane Beamer's a pretty good recruiter, right? Shane Beamer is going into Florida and is getting these guys that have offers in their own state. This cat that they just put an offer in on, Grayson Pup Howard, is a Florida guy. He had offers from Florida, Florida State. He also had offers from powerhouses like LSU. And all of a sudden, as of just a couple of days ago, the Gamecocks have a top 25 recruiting class for 2023. And I think it's going to move up. I'm looking at the 24/7 write-up right now about this. And the Gamecocks were 42nd in the 24/7 sports composite rankings prior to the commitment. They are now 32 nationally for the next class. And this is the type of cat as a 4-star linebacker, Central Florida, that gets other guys to look and go, I'll play with him. I'll play with him. So I look for that number to come up. Now, again, like I know there's Clemson fans that are like, yeah, hit me when you're top 10, like us. Like, yeah, but that's not where they are, dude. That's not where they are. South Carolina to continue to rise towards having a top 20 class would be the same as if tomorrow we found out that Clemson was a top 20 class. We'd be like, yo, what? That's news, right? There's a buzz. Shane's killing the recruiting game. And for him to go down into Florida with Florida State, with Florida, with Miami, with USF, with UCF, and being surrounded entirely by the rest of the SEC, to go down there and be pulling 4-star linebackers and 4-star safeties out, that's impressive to me. That's really impressive. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line says, wow, that's awesome. Says a lot about what they're putting together in Columbia. Beamer Ball 2.0 exclamation point. Texter says, fan, Muschamp lost his job at Florida because he lost to South Carolina. That was the last straw there. And then we hire him? So dumb. Yeah, I didn't get it then. I still don't get it now.
But there were people out there who defended him the entire time he was at Carolina, and I don't get it.
There are always going to be fans that believe your school can do no wrong, right? That believe your school can do no wrong. Every decision's the right decision, no matter how bad the consequences are. There are always going to be super fans who genuinely believe your school can do no wrong, and that's who that was. I have no doubt, and again, I wasn't here, but I was broadcasting down in North Florida, Northeast Florida, Northwest Florida. Compasses.
Somewhere in the state of Florida.
Somewhere in the state of Florida. And, again, being in a melting pot area similar to this one, there were a few South Carolina fans that participated in my show, and they would all say similar things. I don't understand, right? I don't understand why this is what this is. I didn't get it then. I don't get it now. Beamer, exact opposite direction. I didn't love it at the time. I didn't know that he was the right guy at the time. And now that we're a year in, I'm like, okay. I'm coming around. I'm kind of liking the direction here. But Lonzo said it a number of times. At the end of the day, it only matters if what? It translates into W's. That's it. The only thing that matters is translating into wins. Let's take a break. We'll come back after this. I got plenty more to get into to wrap up hour number 1. Rob Lonzo, you. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. I didn't touch the table today.
No, it's not the table.
Oh.
Well, the table is crooked. No, this is bad.
Oh yeah, no, that's an underhand off the back of the wall shot.
That is an impossibility. That was interesting.
DQ presents the sound of a summer double play. It's the sound of
Drumstick pieces and peanuts.
to make two all-star treats. The drumstick with peanuts blizzard and new caramel drumstick with peanuts blizzard. Grab one today or get it delivered at DQ.com. Official treat of MLB. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Want the news without the noise? News Nation is news for all America.
By the way, Keegan, I'll wave to you as I drive through Simpsonville on my way home today. Although if Rob could, since he knows it, well, he probably already knew Keegan lived in Simpsonville. Maybe he could get him to pick up some cherry vanilla water for him.
I'm getting over Fuji. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line says, "Fan, I watched the spring game coverage on the SEC Network, and it dawned on me. The Marty and McGee guy was interviewing Beamer in real time as he was monitoring the game during plays. Shane Beamer's smile is infectious. What young man wouldn't want to come to a situation with an energetic coach that you can tell is truly living his dream of making young football players' dreams come true on the gridiron?"
Marty and McGee guy.
Love Ryan.
It was Marty, actually.
No, it was Ryan, wasn't it? Pretty sure it was Ryan.
No, it was Marty.
I'm questioning my own reality now because of you. Are you sure?
Well, maybe I'm just as confused as the texter. It's one of them.
Yeah, no, I know. No, it was Ryan.
Was it?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I was wrong.
Angrily closed that tab back out that I was
It
furious.
was angry, you know?
Anyway,
Rob has this
Listen.
incessant need to be right.
I'm gonna say this respectfully. I get it. I get what you're saying. I think you're romanticizing it just a little bit, but I also think you have a point.
No, I agree, even though I can't remember which guy it was. Because he was having trouble keeping up, which makes more sense that it would, because Marty would have
Marty's
kept
in
up.
shape.
Yeah, Marty would have kept up. No,
Ryan is me if I was famous.
no offense, but yeah, he's us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're good for the first little bit just
Yeah.
because we know people are watching, but after a while, it's
Second
like
quarter, I'd have been like, can we just give Coach a lav mic? Can we just let Coach have? And
I think at some point he was in the cool zone and
He was.
interviewing after a while.
Third quarter,
Yeah,
third
it's
quarter,
like-
Ryan was like, yeah,
like,
bench is good.
Forget the appearances here. I'm tired. I'm hot. I'm over here.
Third quarter, Ryan was like, sideline sounds good to me.
I was worried about the mic. But no, while he was out there, not only was Beamer looked like he was having a good time, but he always looks like he's having a good time.
Yeah, I follow Shane Beamer on Twitter as well. And I've told you guys in the past, you don't have to love this, but you do have to recognize that it's true. Recruits do not come to your school because they love your school, right? And I think that human beings have this thing that we do where if we feel a certain way about a thing, we expect everybody else should feel a certain way about a thing. And if they don't feel that way about the thing, they're wrong, right? That's why it drives me crazy. That's why it drives me crazy that you have people that go, you know, if you don't love the University of XYZ, if you don't want to be a sawmule,
I was going to go with tiger, but I mean, it's just, it's a common name for a mascot.
I was trying to use one that's not. If you don't want to be a banana slug,
There we go. Classic.
if you don't love the traditions of the banana slugs, I don't want you here as a banana slug. It's like, dude, listen. I'm kind of tired of saying this, but I kind of feel like I have to at this point. Kids are not born loving anything, right? They're not born loving anything. They don't grow up like, now, they may love your school because mom and dad went to that school, but it is getting more and more and more and more common, to see legacy kids that go to other schools, because we have entered an era where we are telling kids, and this is a good thing, hey, you are your own person. You don't need to you don't need to give in to peer pressure about where you should go and for what reason. You go where it's best for you to go. Well, your mom went to Florida State. Okay, well, if Florida State's not the school for you, don't go there. Nobody's going to be mad at you for it.
I need some clarification, though, and I don't disagree with you on your opinion on this, but it almost makes it sound like it's not okay to love the school.
No.
And how you're talking. I think you could read into it that you're saying it's not okay to grow, because there are kids who grow up in a college town and all they ever want to be is
And
that.
that's great. And that means that school's best for them for their reasons. What I'm saying
And
is,
you talk about this era. When did this start? Because there was a time when that was the norm. When you grew up, you went somewhere where your family wanted you to go. You grew up wanting to go somewhere. When did that change?
I would say when recruiting became big time national, right? When it stopped being you recruit your region and it turned into recruiting as a national game. When
So what, like maybe 90s?
When coaches
something like
started
that?
hopping on G5s and flying around the country to talk to specific kids, that's when it happened, right? And I've used myself as an example. I grew up in a family of LSU fans. When it came time to make the decision to go to school, granted, it wasn't a scholarship. I mean, it was a scholarship decision for me. But when it came time to make my decision, going to LSU was not what was going to be best for me. So I didn't go. And there were people in my family that were like, dude, you're not going to be a Tiger like the rest of us? It's like, yeah, I'd love to be, but no, it's not best for me. Sorry. And nobody's beat me over the head about it since then, right? So you got to create a world. You got to create a world on your campus at your school that makes kids want to be a part of it. You earn that love. You earn that dedication, that passion, that loyalty, that respect. You earn that from these kids, right? And so if Shane Beamer going out there with $1 million smile and an excitement and an enthusiasm that you don't see out of a lot of other coaches is what gets a guy like Pup to sign with you, that's a recruiting tool. That's great. Now, the question is, are you going to do enough as a program for those kids to want to stick around? See, because it used to be, pre the transfer game, once a kid signed the dotted line and once that kid was on campus, you didn't have to worry about him anymore. You don't like it? Sucks to be you, kid. You're trapped here. Now, you don't just recruit a kid to come to your school. You got to basically be constantly recruiting the kids to stay at your school. So if you get a guy like Pup Howard who signs on because Shane's infectious or because he goes, wow, coach is really helping me live my best life here or whatever, can you make him feel that way for all 4 years? You better. You better. Kids sign up to play for coaches and environments, not schools. Well, then earn it. Well, then earn it. Right?
Well, you got to add in the third thing. That's NIL money.
Part of the environment. It's part of the environment now.
So you're saying money makes an environment better?
I'm saying it is part of the environment.
Okay.
There may be a kid to whom, if you got a kid that's getting recruited and he comes from a family that's got a metric boatload of money, money doesn't matter to that. Money may not matter to that kid. Pops is sending him $5,000 of allowance a month. You think a $2,000 a month NIL or a $200 a month NIL is going to matter to him? Probably not. So NIL is just a factor in the environment. For some kids, it may be the biggest factor of all. And for others, may not mean a damn thing. Can you foster an environment that makes kids want to be a part of it? Because if you do, and if they want to be a part of it, and if they stay a part of it, and if they love their time being a part of it, then they become lifelong Gamecocks or Tigers or Banana Slugs or whatever. They become that. But if you don't earn that from them, they won't. Shane is doing a good job creating an environment on its surface that kids from at least the state of Florida are going, damn, that looks cool. That looks cool, dude. I want to be there. Now, can you turn it into dubs? And can you create the environment where they want to stay there? Texture says, fan, recent Clemson baseball transfers are a perfect example of that. Yeah, exactly my point. I said that when the transfers happened, right? I repeat, I wouldn't accept cast-offs from Clemson. Are you kidding me? These guys are 64-game starters. They're damn good baseball players. At the end of the day, what's the job of your baseball program? To win baseball games, right? And if you got two kids from your crosstown rival that come over and go, I like what you're doing. I like your culture. I like your environment. I like your style. I want to be a part of this. Yeah, I'm taking them because they're good baseball players. They're going to help my baseball team.
And baseball, more so than any other sport, I think it'd be easier to bring someone in and have them integrate because it's baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to.
Baseball's got its own culture.
Baseball can only be played so many ways. Football and other sports, there's other things that factor in.
So, baseball when the baseball transfers came over, that was exactly the point that I made. South Carolina has done something with their baseball program. Well, I think it needs to do more. It's done something that attracted kids from Clemson to come there. Why? Because Clemson didn't do enough to keep them there. Well, they should love Clemson. Well, they didn't. And? Question mark? So what? Let's take a break. Back after this. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. It's the Rob Brown Show on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
Hey, did you see that video I sent you earlier?
About the fight?
Yeah. I was expecting more, but you know.
Yeah, I kept waiting. I was like, is this gonna turn into something cray?
Well, the fan picked the wrong security guard to punch.
Correct.
That dude was like, okay.
Correct.
Plus, you're surrounded. If you're going to be dumb enough to fight, kick or something. Don't just throw punches. I mean, you know. You're at a wrestling event. Emulate what you just saw. I mean, that's how they get loose when they're surrounded by security.
Somebody asked me once, and I thought about it. I think we've had this conversation. We may not have. If you find yourself in a bar fight, what wrestling moves would actually work?
Clothesline always works, by the way.
I think you'd have to catch a guy not paying attention for clothesline.
But if you're thinking clothesline neck, I'm thinking chest, because if
A shoulder charge would be better than a clothesline. I guarantee you, and I'm almost to the point that I'm willing to try it. If you gave me a running clothesline to the chest, and I saw you coming, I promise you could not take me off my feet. You could shoulder charge me off my feet. You couldn't clothesline me to the chest.
All right,
Think about it. Your arm goes backwards.
No. I'm talking clothesline like this, not like this.
You still
have
a joint that can be pushed backwards.
You're true. It's true, but it's a matter of your speed, how stationary the other person is, and also, I mean, would you say the same thing if JBL's coming at you? Would you say the same thing if one of the?
If I see JBL in a bar, I'm definitely not fighting that guy. I'm talking about just a normal bar fight between normal bros.
I will tell you, fireman's carry is very effective, but that's also used in amateur wrestling, because one time I fought a dude and he come with an overhead swing like this. I just grabbed his arms, fireman's carried him into the gravel.
I feel like that would work. I feel like it would be a challenge to get it right.
Well, just like any fight, it's but the thing is, if you're fighting someone, for the most part, there's anger on one side, and they're not going to be thinking clearly. Which is why, if you ever did a sport, I think you go into that mindset, the sports mindset. I wrestled 30 years ago, but I mean, if someone comes at me a certain way, in my mind, you're taught to think 3 moves ahead. So if he does this, I'm doing this. If he does this, I'm doing that.
Keegan said he's sitting with the German.
You have to get both arms around. I mean,
I honestly feel like that might work. The only problem with the German is if you don't execute that well, you were slamming your own head into the concrete.
True.
Like, you might concuss them, but you're concussing you too.
Obviously, some submission holds would work, but just the ones that would also work in the UFC would work. And that's whoever you're fighting is going to be kicking and scratching and In truth, in that sort of fight, I'm finding a weapon because I'm fighting as dirty as possible. Because especially as you get older, you can't do the things you used to do. You gotta find something to supplement that. And that whole fair fight thing, that's a myth. There's no such thing as a fair fight. It's a fight.
It's a fight.
Fair fight is for sport. It's not for real life.
This feature sponsored by Simple Green and the Simple Green family of cleaning products. The safer choice. Visit simplegreen.com.
All right, that moth on the window is really bothering me. And it's just been there forever and can't do anything about it.
You can go hit the window.
You can't hit that window.
Why?
Because it's like this. There's 2 window panes.
Oh, that's right. It's a double pane.
Yeah. And the fact that Rob forgot is the reason why all of
No, I
us
still think you would.
still hit our heads when we go to look out the window because you just forget. You don't see it.
Clemson is not going to win at the highest level, and that is the transfer portal. He doesn't like the transfer portal. And guess what, folks? I don't like the transfer portal. And I hate how it's being manipulated. But you either adapt or die. I'm starting to worry about Dabo. Number 1 for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
3 to 7 on the
This report is sponsored by Family Dollar. At Family Dollar, we know you want more to enjoy your summer. That's why you'll find more in every store. From grilling supplies and beach toys at great value to refreshing deals on your favorite soft drinks. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Hey, Mark just texted me. Mark Ryan, that is. Shocker, alert the media. Mark Ryan just texted me. That's not supposed to happen.
So Zoe and I, during the break, we're having a conversation. You're in a bar fight. What fake wrestling move would actually work in a real fight? And I'm not talking like a wrestling match. I'm talking about you're at a bar, things go squirrely, you find yourself in a fight, you got to get to the door, but there's one dude who's not letting you get there. What fake wrestling move would work in an actual fight?
I just thought of one that you cannot go against. You cannot discount.
Okay.
It's foolproof. It will work every time. The heel eye poke.
I mean, it would.
Have you ever been poked in the
It
eye?
would.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
You get up, you put your hands up like you're gonna fight the guy, and just boom.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And then while his eyes are watering, you're out. Or if you want to have fun, you.
So
Yeah.
there's this new. There's this way of fighting I've seen a lot of people do, where they for whatever reason they try to get they just get in close and they just start railing fist, right?
Yeah, it's the third grade playground method,
Yeah.
or also known as basketball fights.
Yeah. Stop it. I gotta think if you've got a dude who's swinging at you like that, like a belly to belly would work, right? If he gets in that
No,
close.
if he comes in swinging that way, I'm kicking him. I mean, that's just. I mean, use your length if you have any.
The old Kevin Nash high kick.
Oh yeah, a boot to the face. If you can get your feet up that high, that's gonna. I mean, it's gonna sting.
The old super kick.
But yeah, I mean, not many of us are agile enough to do that. Well,
I could back in the day.
my super kick might hit him in the midsection, but it still will take care of the problem.
What fake wrestling move would work in a real fight? And as Keegan pointed out, you guys know we're hitting peak off-season sports talk radio here now, right? Now, don't get me wrong.
You don't need to point it out. This is a great conversation.
Oh yeah, no, I agree, but you're not getting this conversation in October, November, or December, right? But what fake? I would think if the dude fights head down, I think you could get a DDT to work, right? Like if you can get that side headlock in, just drive a dude's brain into the concrete.
Yeah.
that'll
See,
work.
here's the thing. I think unless you're raged beyond your capacity for thinking rationally, there are some wrestling moves that could really break someone's neck or kill them. I don't think you go to those, and I think a DDT could possibly kill somebody.
Tommy has chimed in.
Oh, he's right.
Chair to the head.
If you were listening offline, what I said is, at my age, I'm fighting dirty. So I'm grabbing something to compensate for the speed I don't have anymore, for the brittleness of my bones now, and a chair would definitely take care of it. Problem is, I don't go to bars, but we broadcast from sports bars a couple of times.
Sure.
Folding chairs, not exactly sitting around. So some of those chairs are kind of heavy, but you could do some damage. You know what you can also do? You just throw it at them. That's the thing in wrestling right now. They're just picking chairs up and throwing them at people.
Why not? All right. Preferred Armed Services text line's open 71307. What fake wrestling move would work in a real fight? We've got a few thoughts. We'll come back to that later on in the show. I got a few more stories I want to get
Ronda
into.
Rousey hip toss,
See, again,
which is actually a UFC move or a judo move. So.
Yeah, the hip toss. So here's what the problem is with a hip toss is you got to get up under. You got to be able to hook up under.
But you don't. You don't. If someone's coming at you, you use their momentum. It's just like the what's Randy Orton do, that slam? I forget what it's called.
Power slam.
But it's so fast because he's using their momentum as they're coming at you, and they're not expecting that. Again, if you're fighting in a bar, chances are the guy you're fighting probably drunk.
Yeah, but most times, dude's not running at you in a bar fight. They're not. There's no Irish whip in a bar fight.
Well, I'm going to take your
dude's
word
grill to
for
grill
it.
with
I
you.
mean, because I don't know, but I didn't you share? Was it a video that you actually saw, or you were at a place? There was a video I think last year that we shared of a bar fight. Some old man just whipped some dude's butt.
I'm sure. None of them as good as the parking lot fight, where the dude. Oh, what the dude in the parking lot fight actually used a wrestling
Yeah, he
move.
did. He did.
And it was an angle slam. He angle slammed the dude.
And it was
got him on the side, and I mean it was perfectly
It was beautiful.
executed.
It was.
and ended that guy.
And made sure that he landed in a way where he didn't hurt himself, but he hurt the other
onto
dude.
him,
Yeah.
made him take all. Oh, it was perfectly executed. So we now know an angle slam is on that list.
By the way, we don't condone violence, but if you're in a situation where you had to defend yourself, what wrestling move would you use?
All right. Couple of things I want to get into. Last Sunday, we didn't get to this yesterday. Mariners, Angels. Jesse Winker is an outfielder for Seattle, and he was plunked in the buttocks from a pitch by Andrew Wantz. The Angels pitcher had also thrown a pitch behind the head of Julio Rodriguez back in the first inning. There had been some heat between the two teams. Winker, after having the oh yeah, that's right. The video, Alonzo, was the beer bottle over the dome at the Blind Horse. That's what it was.
See, I knew there was something.
Yeah, that's what it was. Good call, Texter. Well done. That's exactly what it was. Yes, and beer bottle over the head, I can now say verifiably works. It does. All right, so after once threw behind Winker and Rodriguez, Winker was not having it, went towards the Angels dugout. There was, and this was not, I call most baseball fights, they're just chest puffing, you know? I'm going to get in your face. You're going to get mine. We're going to both bow up face to face, chest to chest. We're going to yell a bunch. The umpires are going to come split us up. Nothing's going to happen. This one, not so much that.
Yeah, this was legitimate.
You saw it?
Yeah, I did. I didn't see it when it happened, but I heard about it, so I went back and watched it because
this was a fight.
I love violence. And I just wanted to see if it was an actual fight or your typical baseball thing where I'm running at you and then everyone stops me.
Yeah.
And it was not.
No, it's fight. It's fight. There were punches.
And it had potential to turn into so much more when the fight was joined.
Oh, yeah. It went from Winker versus a couple of guys to Winker versus the Angels dugout to Winker and the entire Seattle dugout versus the A's dugout to both pitching staffs coming in. And it was not a chest puffing. These boys were getting it. It was a fight. There were fisticuffs. There were hands being thrown. There was smoke to be gotten, should it be wanted, right? Well, my favorite part was the reaction afterwards. Jesse Winker got tossed. Obviously, so did Andrew Wantz and about 12 other people, all of whom are serving bans from 3 to 10 games, which, by the way, are definite, not indefinite suspensions. Those are definite suspensions. One Seattle fan
so
on
there's
Twitter.
no minimum involved because that would make it.
No, that would still make it undefined. You can have one limit and still have something be undefined. One Seattle fan named Sophie apparently went online to Mountain Mike's Pizza in Anaheim, Los Angeles, where this game was held, ordered a pizza and had it sent directly to the stadium with the instructions, get it to the visitor's locker room, courtesy of Jesse Winker. She just sent my guy a pizza. She's like, sorry, buddy. Sorry this went through. She said, I just ordered a pizza for Jesse Winker from Mountain Mike's in Anaheim. You deserve it, big guy. Well, about 30 minutes later, Jesse Winker DM'd Sophie and responded with, Sophie, I got the pizza. Thank you. I appreciate it a lot. Exclamation point.
Oh, that is awesome. Hats off to the security guys and whoever who said, yeah, I'll take a pizza to him.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Hopefully they gave him a slice.
My guy needed it. Well, the Mariners appreciated that enough that the Mariners the next day sent Sophie a tweet that said, we have a signed Jesse Winker jersey from the Mariners store we'd love to deliver to you. What do you say? Dude, baseball fans are the best, man. The best. Sophie was like, my man just got plunked in the rear end, right in the buttocks, sir.
I just want to say, Mountain Mike's Pizza, that's a good-looking pizza.
Is it?
Yes, I'm looking it up. It's a thin crust, and they cover every inch with toppings.
I respect that. I'm not a thin crust guy, except if you see the problem with a lot of thin crust is people make the thin crust, but then they leave the crust. Like if you're going to go thin crust, yeah, you take sauce, cheese, and pizza and toppings all the way to the edge, right? I don't want to see crust if you go thin
Yeah,
crust.
you don't see crust on this, and then they have something that you wouldn't like. They have the pineapple chicken luau, which
Love
looks okay.
I love pineapple
thought
on pizza.
all right. The more I know you, the more I love you. All right. Also, sizzling bacon classic, which is it's like bacon everywhere. We need one of these around here. So the reason why I looked it up is you don't send any pizza pie
No, you're not-
to a
don't-
player that you send something that you know is good.
Yeah. You go local, you go custom, right? You go local, you go custom. That's it. I respect that. I respect that from Sophie. I respect that and by the way, I got no problem with this fight. None at all. Pitch number 1 goes by a dude's head. It's a warning shot. Pitch number 2 plunks a dude on the butt at 91. It's a reason to scrap. You are clearly trying to hurt. So it's a reason to scrap. Here's the big problem that I've had with baseball in the past. It can be boiled down to managers arguing with umpires. I'm so over it. You're not going to do anything. He's not going to do anything. Quit wasting my time, right? Like ball players after like unless you're charging the mound, quit puffing your chest. It's a waste of time. But the Angels and the Mariners, so it was a scrap. Did you see, I don't remember who it was. I didn't see who it was, but a year or two ago, it may have been either during or right before the pandemic. Lonzo, somebody tried team MMA. Did you see that?
Yeah, I've seen it before. It's been tried a couple times, actually.
It was 5-on-5 MMA.
I've seen more than that. Yeah.
This looked like 26-on-26 MMA. It was just, there were some guys trying to hold others back. There were others that were on the ground throwing punches. There were kicks thrown. It was a genuine fight. And it's the first time that I'm like, all right, like if you're going to plop a dude in the dome and then 3 batters later, plop another dude in the butt, you better be ready to have some punches thrown. And they finally did it. And then my girl Surfy was like, Jesse got plunked. You know what makes me feel better? A pizza. All right, let me take a break. I got a couple more things I want to get into in this hour. We may or may not get to this because I'm not sure if Lonzo is planning on it for Fight Club, but Dana had some things to say about John Bones Jones yesterday. We might get to that.
Yeah, there's a pay-per-view coming up this Saturday, so we're probably going to be talking about that a bunch.
Beautiful.
So let's go with some
All right.
Jones.
Dana had some stuff to say about John Bones Jones. We're going to talk about that. Yesterday we talked about, and then I heard other show hosts also talking about it because it's a damn good segment. I'm glad I came up with it. About Freddie Freeman and some of the fans who were being silent or booing Freddie Freeman and his emotional return to Truist Park. Well, the players on the Atlanta Braves were asked about that moment. I'll tell you what they had to say, see if it lines up with what the fans had to say. Talk about that. Daniel Snyder has been subpoenaed by Congress. And he's like, nah, I'm all right.
Who?
Yeah. Will Congress have the rocks to do anything about it? We'll talk about that and more. It's going to be a busy hour. Don't go anywhere. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. burst in a bar. Grab the neck and so, I mean, the kicks to the stomach sets up a lot of finishers, right?
Wait, are they talking about a stoner? A
stoner?
Bro. A stunner. Are they talking about a stunner? Because stunner
That might
starts
be.
with a kick to the.
Yeah,
and
but
then
see, I don't know if you can get away with a stunner. A, you're going to take as much damage on a stunner.
I disagree.
As you give.
I think a stunner would work, especially if you don't go for the stomach and you go a little bit lower, because they're definitely bending over then.
Right, but so
But
first
then
off,
a knee lift would be a lot better.
the
if
premise
they're-
is you got to hold that dude's chin directly to your shoulder, and the only way it works is to have your shoulder stop moving rapidly. And for that to work, that means you have got to hit the ground rapidly, which means you are going straight to the old tailbone with that. You're going to hurt yourself as much as you hurt that guy. The other point is I want to walk away from this bar fight, not hobble.
Exactly. I get that. You know, as we think about this a little bit more, I know we're talking about other stuff. The Claymore would be very effective.
It would. A jumping kick to the face.
I mean, it's a double kick.
Yeah.
So, but again, you're going to hit the ground when you do that.
Yeah.
And there's a good chance you're going to hurt yourself just as bad when you're hitting the ground.
If you can pull anything that involves the bottom of the sole of a boot hitting a face, that's going to work. Bro kick, sweet chin music, super kick, Claymore, all of that's going to work.
How about a floating bro?
Bro.
Or a bro Derek?
All right, let's get a couple more things in here. MMA real quick because I want to. John Jones, noted dumb person. Not that John Jones is
In
dumb.
many different aspects of his life.
Yeah. Yeah. Dana White, which if you were listening to the Fan Upstate, you heard yesterday, joined the Jim Rome Show. And Dana said that John Jones is ready to make his comeback after a more than 2-year absence from the UFC. Said that Jones is waiting on an opponent right now and said, quote, John Jones is ready to go. We're just waiting for an opponent. It's either going to be, Lonzo, you want to wager a guess?
Stipe Miocic.
Is one of the two. There was one more he put up. And it's absolutely the one I want to see.
Francis Ngannou.
That is exactly the other one. Francis Ngannou or Stipe Miocic. Francis, quote, depending on how long his knee is going to take to recover, end quote, or Stipe. Jones has not fought since he fought Dominic Reyes at UFC 247. That was all the way back in February of 2020. He vacated the belt that same year out of interest to move up to the heavyweight division and challenge for the title there. But obviously he's had those contractual issues with UFC. They've seemed to have put that in the past. White said, quote, it's very interesting because I'm a huge believer in ring rust, but for all the negative things you could say about John Jones and his personal life and things that have happened, he's the best. He's, quote, definitely the best of all time, end quote. Miocic, of course, has yet to be booked for a fight. He last competed in March 2021 when he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou. Ngannou, on the other hand, is close to becoming a free agent. That's absolutely not going to happen. Experienced his own contractual issues with the UFC, currently recovering from a knee surgery and targets a return for late 22 or early 23. Ngannou fought out his contract earlier this year when he took on Cyril Gane at 270. Ngannou has also shown an interest in moving into boxing and potentially taking on Tyson Fury down the line. So I'm a bit interested in this, Lonzo. I'm a bit interested for a number of reasons. Number one, John Jones, I truly believe, could have been the greatest MMA fighter of my lifetime, right? As Lonzo likes to say, so far, we may have seen another guy come down the pipe and been the guy, but had John Jones kept his nose clean, both literally and metaphorically, I think John Jones could have gone down as the greatest MMA fighter of all time so far. Francis Ngannou, I don't know what he's going to look like coming back off of knee surgery, considering Ngannou's a power guy, and power and a punch is thrown from your knees through your thighs through your hips. That's what Ngannou is. If Ngannou's knee surgery takes, Francis Ngannou through via John Jones is interesting because we'll get a look at a raw power heavyweight taking on a light heavyweight who now fights as a heavyweight. Can John Jones carry that weight through and wrestle Francis Ngannou to a win? Stipe Miocic, I've always liked a lot, but Stipe's on the downside, right? Like Stipe would be a warm-up for Francis Ngannou. Any interest, Zoe? Any interest in seeing John Bones Jones?
All right, so I want to see him get knocked out because he's a punk, and I want to see him lose. I'm not like I've expressed my dislike for John Jones for years on this station, and I want someone to beat him. I don't care if it's Stipe. I don't care if it's Francis. Someone needs to beat this guy. And unfortunately, here's how it goes. There are some people like Khabib. I wanted to lose so bad. He never lost. There are some people that just can't be beat. I don't put him in that category. He's nearly lost a couple times, and he's managed to pull out a win. And I mean pull out a win because he could have been beaten. There's been a couple fights most recently, last time he fought, where he nearly had to be carried out of the octagon because he got beat up so bad. He's going to bring speed into the heavyweight division that hasn't been seen in a while. So as far as speed matching speed, Stipe would be the better matchup. We don't know what we're going to get with Ngannou. Has he put on weight? What has he done since he's been out? Because a knee injury is no joke. So there's no way he comes back, and even with Dana saying he's the greatest of all time, not going to put him in for a championship right away. You cannot do that. Even though he has a history, he's got to fight one fight before he gets a championship match. It's got to be Stipe.
I was going to say, is that Stipe?
It's a two-time champ, someone who's not that far away from having been the champion, who probably still has aspirations of getting back there. So, yeah, I mean, that's the guy. I haven't looked at as far as contenders goes, but I would say Stipe's still up there.
I think Stipe's up there. I don't think he was what he was, right? Or he is what he was. Francis Ngannou, we don't know. I got to see what he, like we said, see what he comes back from this knee injury looking like. As Zoe pointed out, but Francis was already a big dude. He was carrying around a lot of weight when he was just jacked. Does he come back as jacked? Does he soften up a little bit? Is his knee gonna hold up, right? If you're John Jones and you know my man's on a reconstructed knee, you know you're the better wrestler, you're going after it, right? So I don't know. The only thing I can say about John Jones is what an absolute disappointment, man. What an absolute disappointment. This guy, I genuinely think could have been the greatest we ever saw, but he didn't do it. He just, he could not keep himself out of trouble. He could not keep himself away from issues. He could not stop doing things that got cops involved. And it's like, again, I don't tell anybody how to live their life, but my guy, you wasted the best fight of year. We'll never see the best John Jones could have been, Zoe, because my dude's in his, mid-30s now.
Yeah, and according to several different websites that I just went to, Stipe is ranked number 1 or number 2. It's either
Really?
him or Cyril Gain as far as contenders. So, I mean, that's the guy. I think you go up against the...
Stipe is 40 years old. Is that just a lack of quality in the heavyweight division?
UFC, some of your better years for your champions is between like 38 to 43 or in the 40s. It's not like boxing. For some reason, as they get more aged, they seem to be in their 30s. It's like prime time for a UFC fighter.
I don't know, man. Stipe's 40. Francis is in his mid-30s, but
You don't bring him back and give him a patsy and then give him the champ. You bring him back
I mean,
and
so not, for
let
the
him
record,
fight a name.
I'm
And
not calling
Stipe is
Stipe
still
a
a name.
patsy.
No. What I'm saying is you could bring John Jones back and give him someone who you've never heard of before. And there are hundreds of fighters that you really haven't heard of before that you can give him that fight. He comes in, he dominates, then you put him in for a championship, and it just doesn't have a good look to it. You bring him in, he fights Stipe, he beats him, then he goes after Ngannou. I think that's better for pay-per-view buys, and it's a better look for the UFC.
so Stipe just lost to Ngannou. Cyril Gane lost to Ngannou. Tai Tuivasa is much younger than those two, but he is 14-3. He's got Cyril Gane. Maybe I give him to the winner of Tuivasa versus Gane, which is early September.
See, I'd be okay with that.
Give him to the winner of that. If he gets through that, then give him Stipe.
Yeah,
And if he gets through both of those, then give him Francis, assuming Francis
because
hasn't lost.
you're also setting precedents saying you can be off for a long time, come back, and I'm going to give you a championship match. And then you got other guys in other weight classes going, okay, you did this for him, and it's Dana White, and he probably could care less. But still, it's not a good look. You bring someone back, you have them fight a name, whether it's Gane or whether it's Stipe, then you let him fight for the championship. And there's no guarantee he wins either of those fights. John Jones could very easily lose one. All right, not very easily, but he could lose one of those fights.
Here's the other thing. Been a minute since John took a shot to the button, right? Been a minute since he took one to the nose. I'd rather see him, almost as a Ngannou fan. Out of petty, I'd love to see him catch a healthy Francis Ngannou because I think we'd see John Jones get humbled real quick.
Well, I think John Jones' legs have been getting weaker and weaker.
I do
That
too.
seems to be his weakness.
Which
leg kicks.
I was going to say, chunk of what his success used to be was, I'm going to kick your legs until your legs don't work no more.
But now people have been doing that to him.
Yep. That being said, I don't know if Francis does that. I think Francis still just goes, I'm going to put this fist on that chin until you see birdies. Stipe might be the better fight there. I don't know. All right, let's take a break. I want your thoughts. If you're an MMA fan, any interest in seeing John Jones fight either one of the top two, maybe top three heavy-ranked fighters in UFC? Are you in for that? Back after this, Rob Alonso, it is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. From downstairs?
I have the kind that shoots out the balls.
Yeah.
Which I can stand at word and shoot the wall at the other end of the hallway. I know you got to factor in wind and everything. Not like I break the window. What if we have a power washer? That would reach it.
I would reach it.
Let me tell engineering that this moth is bothering me and I would like it off the window.
I would like it pressure washed off
I would
the
like
window,
it off the
please.
window. Never seen it move, so it could be
I was
dead.
going to say, are we 100% sure it's not toast already?
Yeah, but how is it still stuck to the window then? So if it's dead and it stays there for
I mean, they have little hooks in their legs that hook into slight imperfections.
the sun kind of hits right there. Could it end up being a window tattoo after a while? I don't know. Yes, I'm bothered by little things.
All right, running towards the end of this hour of the radio broadcast. Rob Brown, Lonzo, you. So we know that the cost of quarterbacks in the National Football League have been getting higher year by year. And so one of the strategies you'd like to see, and I think this may have gone partially into the reasoning for giving Sam Darnold the one extra year extension that the Panthers gave him, that picking up that team option on his contract when they signed him and added him to the Panthers rotation. But the cost of a quarterback this offseason, for Carolina at least, we told you last week, has also started to go up a little bit. Why? Because now all of a sudden, post the loss of Russell Wilson, the Seattle Seahawks are now in the mix as well. I was looking this morning at a column written by Anthony Rousey. And Anthony Rousey opened his article in a way I found very interesting. He said this, quote, "If you do not like Baker Mayfield and or Jimmy Garoppolo, then it's a great day to be a Carolina Panthers fan," end quote. Why? He said multiple reports from Charlotte-based media essentially confirm the Panthers' most recent plan of attack at the quarterback position is basically nothing. It's basically nothing. He said the first nugget from Ellis Williams of the Charlotte Observer noted that there's still a gap between Carolina and the Cleveland Browns, about a $4.5 million gap between what the Panthers are willing to pay and what the Browns are willing to pay at this point. That would indicate that the Panthers are remaining particularly cautious about such a move. One of the latest developments came obviously about a week and a half ago, and we reported this on the show, when Albert Breer said that Cleveland was willing to pay around half of the $18.8 million salary that is owed to Baker Mayfield. So they'd be willing to come off about $9.4 million of the $18.8 million owed to Baker. But apparently, according to a number of Charlotte reporters, including Will Kunkel, Fox Charlotte's Will Kunkel, Will said and reported yesterday that the team, despite rumblings, is not closer to a swap for either Mayfield or Jimmy Garoppolo. His tweet said, quote, "I'm told the Panthers are no closer to a deal with Baker Mayfield or Jimmy Garoppolo, despite reports roaming around Twitter. Sheena Quick of Fox Sports 1340 AM confirmed that tweet. She said, quote, "Literally nothing has happened in weeks." So if you want Bake, if you want Jimmy G, or if you want neither, you've got feelings about this. Which makes sense. They apparently are doing nothing at this point.
So you're saying there's someone out there who would rather have Sam Darnold as their quarterback?
I'm not sure that, and we go ask him on Thursday. I'm not sure Rashad Beard's not in that group, not in that number.
He's just so anti-Baker that it's making him pro Sam Darnold.
Yeah, to some degree. I don't know that he's anti-Baker as much as he's like, I'm done with pass-off quarterbacks.
I know. There's some anti-Baker in there. There really is. And his co-host the same way. So, I mean, there's some anti-Baker in there.
I don't know, man. I just find this whole situation to be an opportunity, a big opportunity, for the Panthers to make a move. I find it to be a big opportunity for the Panthers to make a move, and it's going to cost them $9 million. Now, for Baker. For Jimmy G, you have effectively the option to, at this point, you have the option to renegotiate his contract. Because he's owed, like $28 million? Coming off of surgery. He's owed like $28 million. That's not nearly as good of a setup. What I don't want to happen here for Carolina is for Seattle to get into a spot where they go, you know what? $9 million. And let's be real here. Baker does a similar amount of work to Russ Wilson, right? Similar style of game. Russ might be a little more accurate down the field, but it's a similar style of game. You think Baker couldn't show up and show out with DK Metcalf? Are you kidding me? That'd be dangerous.
He's also younger than Russell
Yeah.
Wilson, too, so there's that.
So at some point, Seattle's going to go, you know what? 9.5. 9.5. $9.5 million bucks. We'll do it. Cleveland says yes. Baker's a Seahawk next year. And now the Panthers find themselves in an interesting position. Position number one is we keep Sam Darnold. We let Darnold mentor Matt Corral, and we see where that takes us.
Don't you think we hear about this for the next 3 or 4 weeks? Because training camps usually start end of July, right? So July is Friday. So we've got a few more weeks. Why wait till the last minute to do something? I think with Jimmy Garoppolo, I get it because he just had surgery and they're waiting to see how he can throw and everything after that. But with Baker, what are they waiting on?
My thought is they're waiting on the Browns to get desperate, right? They're waiting on the Browns to go, we got to get rid of this guy. We had no takers offering to pay 9.5. We'll do 12.
Or does this all stem on what happens with Deshaun?
I don't think it does, because the more that's come out over the past few days, right, the more I got to think Deshaun's not playing this year. But Baker's not either, not for Cleveland. I suspect Baker sits a year. Baker does what Deshaun did last year. Sucks to be you guys. Shouldn't have dissed me. Because let's be real here. Even if Deshaun had no problems, even if Deshaun was 100% good, even if Deshaun was eligible week 1, man, what they did to Baker's dirty, my guy. Dude showed up and took you to the playoffs. Playoffs?
It is dirty, but at the same time, he could turn around and go, oh, you need me now.
Yeah.
You need me now. And just go and play for them anyway, despite them. And when the press conference come up after the game, just say whatever you want because you know you're not going to be there next year and say, I'm here to spite this team, but not the fans. I love the fans. This team did me wrong, but I'm going to show them and everybody else why I'm a valuable quarterback in this league. And talk about how much management sucks. Talk about how much the owner sucks the entire time. Just go full on heel every press conference. And to the point where the team doesn't want him to go out there, but the media wants him out there.
If
He can't afford to sit a year like Deshaun did because he doesn't have the same talent and he has a reputation that the more he sits, the more, I mean, there's been nothing but slamming him all off season. It is the popular thing to do. That's only going to get worse. And I also, if I were him, when I win games for Cleveland and I'm doing a press conference, I would come at every one of those commentators for ESPN and all the major networks who do nothing but dog him every day.
I don't know. I see where you're coming from.
I would even go so far as to say, I bought tickets for you guys for the front row so you could see what I do to the next team.
The only problem with that is if you come out and you suck, right?
Oh, there's that option. But also, you're going to hurt yourself sitting at home. You really are, if you're him. because the narrative's not going to change. It's only going to get worse. They've decided they're going to destroy this guy. So why not go out on the field?
I get what you're saying.
And if he is the punk that everyone says he is, he's a quarterback. There are a lot of those out there.
I mean, it's the most important position in the NFL. We're not arguing.
Also the most arrogant. I mean, all the traits that they get on him about, there are a ton of other quarterbacks who have the same exact traits.
I look at Baker if I'm Cleveland, and you got a quarterback for 1 year for $9 million. This is where I've said from the beginning. If Baker shows up and kills it, great. He's gone next year. Matt Corral had a year to watch it be done correctly by a guy who plays a similar game. If Baker shows up and he sucks, oh well.
And all those people, Jacoby Brissett just hasn't had a chance to prove himself. Shut up. Shut up. I mean, you hurt yourself when you say that. There's a reason why Brissett is not a starter.
Jacoby Brissett.
I heard that like 2 days ago, I think, and I yelled at the TV about how stupid of a take that was.
Yeah. Jacoby Brissett's not it, boss. Just not it. Cleveland has doomed themselves. They've got to get rid of Baker, right? It's not an option anymore. They've got to get rid of Baker. Carolina knows this. My thought on why this is taking so long, frankly, is that Carolina's just waiting for Cleveland to get closer and closer to the point where they're like, all right, we'll pay most of it. All right, we'll pay most of it. We need him gone. We'll do 14 of the 19 mil. If somebody will just take this guy out of our locker room now. That strategy is perfect if Seattle's not involved. That strategy is spectacular if Seattle's not involved. If that strategy remains when Carolina's the only team looking for a QB, I think you're in great shape. But Seattle's involved now. And Seattle just got involved 2 weeks ago. Now, Lonzo brings up a good point. You have made it through the minicamps. The optimum time to have found your new guy would have been pre-minicamp, right? Or at least in minicamp. Give my guy time to show up. Give my guy time to meet his pass catchers, meet his running backs, meet his coaches, learn the offense, whatever. That time period's passed. So now it's time to get set up for fall camp, for summer camp, for fall camp, whatever. Now it's time to get the next round of camps ready. You got to have him in by the start of that camp. That's no longer an option. If you want him to surpass Sam Darnold, you've got to put him in that spot. And by him, I mean Bake or Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo is going to go to whichever of these two teams doesn't end up getting Baker, I think. But it's still a big question mark. If I'm Carolina, of those two guys, I want Baker. Now, Jimmy G has technically proven more. But Jimmy G is going to cost you 6 times as much to bring him down. You're looking at Baker, I say 6 times. That's an exaggeration. He's going to cost you about 2.5 to 3 times as much. I'm looking at Baker. You're thinking you can get the Browns to come up from half to, 60% of his salary. Let's say they pay 10 of 18 mil. You're on the hook for 8. Jimmy G's costing you 27, 28. Because San Francisco is perfectly happy to just keep him on the bench as Trey Lance's backup. But Jimmy G wants out. And what's interesting about that is if Jimmy Garoppolo does want out of San Francisco that bad, Jimmy Garoppolo might be willing to restructure his contract for you. He might be willing to work with you a little bit, right? I've been to an NFC championship game. I do not want to go back to being a quarterback. I can beat out Sam Darnold. What do you need me to sign for? Let's negotiate that. And if they do that, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo could work out. Here's what I'll say. You at this point need to make a move. You need to make a move, and you need to make it now. Because while you and Seattle may very well both be waiting till closer to the start of camp to see what the Browns are willing to take off, I'll tell you this. I'd rather pay 12 for Baker and have him than try to work my way down to 9 or 8 and watch him go to Seattle for the same amount of money. And on top of that, I don't know if I power rank these two. I don't know that Seattle's not maybe a slightly better team than Carolina, which means Bake's got a better chance to succeed there, right? Baker may look at an offer sheet from Seattle. He may look at an offer sheet from Carolina. He may look at the two rosters and a team that's been to a Super Bowl in recent years, a team that's been to the playoffs multiple times in recent years and done so under Russ Wilson and go, you know what? That's the better option. That's the better option. It's not just about building a legacy. It's about success. And if he 1 year at Seattle and their run is a playoff, maybe an NFC divisional game, he's got a justification to re-up there. Does he have that in Carolina yet? Not yet. Not yet. At least that's my thoughts on it. All right, coming up in the next hour of the show, your thoughts are still welcome at 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. You can text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Coming up in the next hour of the show, we'll talk about this Daniel Snyder subpoena that he's totally going to ignore. Some of the lawsuits against Deshaun Watson, now named the Houston Texans as defendants.
Hey, do you know what day it is?
And it's Tuesday. You know what that means. Time for Lonzo's favorite segment of the week, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for Faces and Heels. We take a look at some socially ambiguous situations, find out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. That's all in the next hour of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
It's still it was the way you shoved the table or the thing when you got up. I can't fix it yet. A phone number. That was scary. Yeah, I'll fix that because I can't see it, but that's fine. That's better. We could just take it down.
You know what?
Because that was nearly bad. That nearly took everything out. Here, I'll help.
I can see clearly now the glass is gone.
You know, it ain't like we can say we didn't do it.
I can see Lonzo right in my face. It's so weird, actually.
It is kind of
like a weird
it's
look
kind
now.
of it's like like when your window has been busted out at the house or something. Yeah. So if we're not here tomorrow, you know we got suspended, and you know why. Well worth it.
How's that still short?
Yeah, it was nearly busted. Speaking of truly busted, we will get busted when someone arrives later and probably complains about it. So
Probably.
let's see if he even notices. He may not.
Hey, 100% will.
You're right.
And we'll be upset about it. As if anybody else is in this room.
It's all right. If he comes and asks me, I'll say an executive decision was made.
Love it.
All right, we're going to be a little bit early because, you know, my math was off because of things falling and nearly killing me, and, you know, made me unable to.
Of course. It's like you deserve hazard pay, frankly. So yesterday we talked a little bit about the Freddie Freeman story. Freddie Freeman made his first return to the ATL after departing to head to the City of Angels, Los Angeles, playing for the Dodgers. Well, there was a young man out in Gonzales writing for ESPN who was in Atlanta, and he was effectively covering Freddie Freeman's return to Atlanta. Not just the games, but like following Freddie around and watching this whole thing play out. And he says that it was kind of interesting to watch because Freddie was emotional. He said pretty much from the time he got to Atlanta to the time he's left. Of course he did. He played 14 years there, right? So there was a 3-minute tribute that video of a video that played on the big screen in center field at Truist. There was a standing ovation that culminated in a big hug from Brian Snicker, his former manager in Atlanta, gave him the World Series ring that Freddie specifically requested to receive in Atlanta. And Freddie was crazy emotional about it, right? Crazy emotional about it. So it's interesting because one thing that Gonzalez did that I didn't see a lot of play of was talking to the other Braves, right? Talking to the other Braves, talking to the other players, talking to former players of Freddie Freeman, teammates of Freddie Freeman, to see what they had to say. Because we talked about the players. And again, I'd say it was probably 1 out of 5, 20% tops of Braves fans that were there that didn't respond to Freddie Freeman. Maybe less, maybe 15%. There were a few. They scanned the crowd. Every now and then you'd see a guy or a gal that's like sitting down or booing. Can't believe you left us, Freddie, you jerk. But I thought, I wonder what the players felt, right? The guys who spent so long with Freddie. Ian Anderson said, quote, he deserved every second of it. Dansby Swanson said, quote, he cemented a legacy here, man, and it's so rare when that kind of thing happens. Sometimes you don't appreciate players and what they're able to accomplish until they're no longer there, end quote. He went through so many different players and talked to them, and pretty much every one of them said they should retire his name. Or his number. Should retire his number. Jeff Francoeur said, there's a reason you're here, man, talking to Freddie. I mean, the players, the coaches, everybody had positive things to say about Freddie, and every one of them is going to have far more insight as to what happened in that situation than most of us. I like it.
What did you expect them to say, though? I mean, beefs in sports go a long way. We hadn't said beef in a while.
Beef.
And
I wore that shirt the other day, by the way.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
And once it's out there, it will not die. So you're not going. And plus, this is their friend, their buddy, who'd been there with them forever. I mean, so did you expect anyone to be? He don't play for us anymore. He doesn't belong here. He doesn't deserve all the accolades. You want to give it to somebody, give it to the people who are here for this city, for this team. Did you expect anyone to say that?
I would not have been surprised to hear players go, it's disappointing, or, I wish he was still a Brave or whatever. But, I mean, there's a difference between canned, polite responses and guys like Dansby going, that man has a registered, certified legacy in this building. Guys like Ian Anderson going, this franchise would not have been the same franchise without him, right? If somebody asks you to say something nice about somebody you don't like, yeah, he's a great guy. Nice guy. Happy for him. These guys are talking about legacy. They're talking about retiring jerseys. They're talking about the building not being the same without Freddie Freeman having been a part of it, right? I think there's more to it than just niceties, which is why I told the Braves fans yesterday who were like, Freddie's dead to me. Well, he shouldn't be. He won you a World Series, dude. Freddie's dead to me. Really? MVP? Dead to you? Dead to you. Are you selling a World Series title right now? If Freddie Freeman wasn't a Brave last year, I don't know, man. I don't know. I doubt it. So that's why when I saw messages, people, I'd have sat down and ate my hot dog and drank my beer. All right, well, I wouldn't have. Freddie did a hell of a lot. He is not dead to me. There was a business/personal decision that Freddie Freeman had to make, and Freddie Freeman made the business/personal decision that was best for him and his family. I think to some degree he may have gotten kind of pushed to it by his agent, but he made a call. Tough call, but made a call nonetheless. All right, let's get away from that. I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of time on that. But if the guys who played with Freddie Freeman, because here's the thing, you're a Braves fan, Freddie Freeman did not diss you. He did not bail on you. He did not abandon you. He left the rest of the guys on the team. Those were his teammates. Those were the guys that built a chemistry, that built a squad around him. He abandoned them, and they're all good with him. So where are you coming from? Where are you coming from? That looked like you did not enjoy it all that much, Lonzo.
It's really sour. You ever put sour candy in water before?
No, I don't like sour.
As a kid?
Hate sour.
Okay, stay away
Hate sour.
Stay away from this one.
Fair enough.
I paid for it though, so I'm gonna drink it, even if I have to suffer the entire time.
Washington Commanders. Bum, 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 bum. Owner Dan Snyder. Somebody asked me yesterday why, because I did that last week. Why did you do that? For those of you that missed it, the most amazing bit of audio I've ever had. When the Commanders' name was announced, there was a group of Commanders fans, allegedly, that stood out front of the Commanders store, and they were trying to come up with like fight songs and chants to share with the rest of the Commanders fans that definitely exist. And one of them was, "We are Commanders, bum, 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 bum." I played the audio. You heard it. So now I every time I hear Commanders, I hear bum, 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 bum. Anyway, Texas said if the Braves shouldn't fawn over the Braves shouldn't fawn over Freeman and alienate Olsen. I don't think Matt Olson's been alienated. I think he's been embraced, right? I think he's been embraced. You can appreciate what you had, but still love what you got, right? This is one of those times. I know some radio hosts love to put everything into the frame of a romantic relationship, right? Everything is viewed through the lens of a romantic relationship. This ain't one of those times. It doesn't work here. It's not an analogy. It's a business. I will use the romantic lens every now and then. But, oh, Freddie left you for a better opportunity, and now he's coming back and he's crying. Yeah, I don't think it's that at all. Freddie left for a better business opportunity. You can appreciate a man who did good business with you and then left for a better opportunity while still looking at the guy that you're doing business with now and going, this is great. Matt Olson's got great numbers. They're very close to what Freddie's doing in L.A. I don't think you're alienating the guy at all. All right. Washington Commanders, bum, 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 bum. Owner Dan Snyder has not yet accepted a subpoena issued by the U.S. House Oversight Committee investigating allegations he fostered a toxic work culture in his organization, according to a spokesperson for the committee via press conference yesterday. The committee attempted to send the subpoena to Snyder's attorney via email on Friday, but Karen Seymour, one of Snyder's lawyers, declined to accept it, according to two sources familiar with the ongoing negotiations between the committee and Snyder's attorneys. Last week, the chair of the committee, Carolyn Maloney, New York, announced she would issue the subpoena for Snyder to be deposed by the congressional investigators after his attorney repeatedly declined the committee's invitation to testify with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell at the hearing last week. The committee spokesperson said in a statement yesterday, quote, "The committee will not be deterred from obtaining Mr. Snyder's testimony, and we remain committed to ensuring transparency about the toxic workplace culture at the Washington Commanders, bum, 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 and the NFL's inadequate response." I added the bum, bum, bum. She didn't put that in the press conference, obviously. Daniel Snyder had a spokesperson say, quote, "Mr. Snyder has not refused to appear for a deposition. The committee offered only one date, June 30th, and Mr. Snyder's attorney is out of the country and unavailable on that date. Mr. Snyder's lawyer has provided alternative dates to the committee and looks forward to finding a path forward for Mr. Snyder's further cooperation and to address remaining due process concerns," which is great. But
Who? Congress?
Congress.
Nah, find another day. I'm busy.
Who? The subpoena says Congress? Congress? I'm good. I'm all right. I genuinely hope one day, Alonzo, that I am rich and powerful enough that when Congress goes, we'd like to see you, I can go, I'm busy. I'm good. I'm all right. Now, in fairness, Congress does not really have any teeth to enforce these subpoenas, right? It's more of like, listen, we really, really want you to come talk to us. I think I was curious
come
about
on,
this yesterday.
please. Yes, you really. Come on.
I was curious yesterday as to what enforcement Congress has had for committee subpoenas like this in the past. And basically, Zoe, in the last 100 years, Congress has worked to enforce 2 subpoenas to a committee. One of them was like 100 years ago, and the other one is Steve Bannon. Those are the only 2 subpoenas for a committee that I was able to find. I am not an attorney, nor did I stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night. But I have only found like 2 spots where a committee subpoena has been enforced with some teeth and some discipline. One was 100 years ago, and one was Steve Bannon. Just so you know where we're coming from here. I do not know if the subpoena will be, you know what I really want to see? I really want to see somebody serve Dan Snyder the subpoena in person. I really want that. That ends up happening, then it could be a different game. Now, Dave Rapallo, Georgetown University's Federal Legislation Clinic Director and the Democratic Staff Director of the House Oversight Committee from 2011 to 21, told ESPN the committee can have U.S. Marshals serve a subpoena in person at locations such as a subject's home or place of work. Quote, it's not totally unprecedented, but it's rare because it's usually unnecessary. Most lawyers accept the subpoena electronically, but Snyder's obviously did not. Rapallo said Snyder can comply with the subpoena and be deposed by the committee's investigators, or he could plead the 5th, which protects against self-incrimination. Other options include his attorneys filing a lawsuit in federal court challenging the subpoena. Rapallo added the committee could also decide to hold Snyder in contempt if he does not accept or comply with the subpoena, end quote. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Long story short, when billionaires are subpoenaed, traditionally, nothing happens. Traditionally, when a billionaire is subpoenaed, nothing happens. But Dan Snyder has done some bad stuff, according to sources. And Dan Snyder fostering a hostile work environment, including multiple women coming forward and claiming sexual harassment in the age of #MeToo, Dan Snyder may be the first one that catches some teeth in a subpoena enforcement. But we'll find out. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday, and you know what that means. When we come back, Lonzo's favorite segment of the week, it is time, my friends, for Faces and Heels. We take a look at some socially ambiguous situations and try to find out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Faces and Heels is next on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Sent you something on Twitter.
I'm looking at it right
I'm
now.
curious if you would actually fly on that.
I mean, if it ever went real and got tested, yeah, that'd be awesome.
turbulence. What happens? I'm just curious. I'm about to make some noise.
Going for the bounce. I like it. I like it.
It was pretty direct. I just didn't get kind of bouncing.
Oh.
You gotta hit it right. Hit on the. I'm gonna pay for this because my stomach can't handle. It's the same reason I can't drink strawberry. But it tastes good. I mean, that's the part. If it tasted bad and it had a kick to it, would be. But it tastes pretty good. Not sure I can finish it though. I'm gonna try. So I didn't hear any of that because I was making a lot of noise for some reason.
Can't imagine.
Yeah. What time is that? You know?
What's that?
The Deshaun thing. He's meeting today with the
Oh, I don't know. I didn't even know it was today. I mean, I knew they were meeting this week, but I didn't know it was today.
Yeah, what happens if Houston is found, I don't know, liable? You know Houston's being sued.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's found out that they facilitated everything that he did,
If you're
which
Goodell, you got to let everybody go.
they kind of did.
You got to go. All these people are fired, or we will make you sell the franchise. Unless it goes all the way to the McNairs, in which case you Dan Snyder them, or you Jerry Richardson them, I guess. I made homemade Mexican pizzas last night. Baked some tortillas.
Okay.
Baked some tortillas. Cooked up some ground beef, taco seasoning. Stirred some refried beans into them. Put a little chili pepper in it. Cooked that up. Put it on one baked tortilla. Put the other baked tortilla on top of it.
All right.
Enchilada sauce around the top of that. Mexican cheese blend on top of that. Put it in the oven till the cheese melted and the whole thing got warm. Pulled it back out. Sprinkle a little lettuce, a little freshly diced tomato over the top of it. Phenomenal.
Sounds awesome. I'm surprised you didn't try air frying.
Phenomenal. It would have taken too long because I mean they're only like that big, but I don't because the air.
I mean the
fryer's not big.
melted cheese.
Oh, to melt the cheese.
Yeah.
I put them in the oven. It took 10 minutes on 400, and I was able to do 8 of them at a time. So like, Courtney and I were both eating quick.
Sounds good. No jalapenos. Nothing really kicking.
It is time for Faces and Heels, where Lonzo and I take a look at some socially ambiguous situations and try to figure out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. No fence sitting. Every story's got a villain. Every story's got a hero. So who is it in ours? You are also welcome to submit your answers on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Start with this one, Lonzo. This is a young lady who has two kids, a 16-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter. She says, last year, my 14-year-old daughter decided to go vegan. I didn't have any problem with this. I give her the money that I would have spent on her food. She buys her own food. She cooks it herself. And if what I'm making isn't vegan, she makes her own tiny changes to make it vegan. We've all been totally happy. For some reason, my son has decided that he's not cool with his sister being vegan and has to some degree started bullying her. Last week, it came to a head when my son took all of the food my daughter had bought for the week and hid it, pretending he threw it away on garbage day. I got a call in the middle of the day at work from my daughter crying, saying that he had thrown all of her food away. I had to rush home to discover it was a prank. I was livid. So I made him for an entire week eat nothing but vegan food. I cooked vegan for the entire house as punishment for this prank on his sister. She said, I'm down for a good-natured prank, but this was not good-natured. He has been bullying her about it. It was mean, but my husband has been calling me abusive for making him eat all vegan food for a week.
All right, there's an obvious answer here. The mother is the heel, and here's the reason why. If you've been around people who eat nothing but roughage, there is a byproduct that happens afterwards, which puts forth a stench that probably permeates the entire house. So the dad has a valid complaint. The mom is the heel for making everyone suffer with the smell.
Roughage.
Yes.
Rabbit food.
Yes.
No, mom's the face here. Mom's the face here. If you are going to bully, stop being shocked when people bully you back.
So are all pranks bullying?
This wasn't a prank. She literally said he has been being a jerk to her for being a vegan.
So a brother and a sister being jerks to each other is uncommon. This doesn't happen anywhere, ever.
I don't have a sister. I couldn't tell you.
Okay, all right. So brother to brother.
No, we screw with each other all the time.
You guys were always just all, come here, bro, and nice hug and everything. All the time. Never went at each other.
No.
Would you consider anything that you did with your brother or to your brother bullying? It's your brother.
No, look at me. I'm a great guy. I'm perfect. I'm a great. Lonzo just angrily pushed the off button.
No, that was an I win pushing the button. That's what that was.
I will acknowledge that there is the chance that maybe this was a good-natured prank from the brother. But, pranks end when you're taking people's stuff. That's where it ends. All right. Guys, got a friend named Justin. I asked my friend if he was able to dog sit for me because my original dog sitter canceled. He agreed to do it. I offered to pay him. He said, no, it's free. It's on me. I got it. No worries. Said I left the money on the table so he could at least buy some food for himself while he's hanging at the house. Said I came home a few hours earlier than originally planned since there was way less traffic than I anticipated. Turns out Justin left. He didn't watch my dogs at all. There was poop and pee everywhere, but luckily the house had AC, so it didn't overheat. They tore into their food bag, which made a huge mess on the floor, but was also better than the dog starving. I cleaned up and did not call Justin. He came to the house about 2 hours before I originally expected, and all he had to say was, "Oh, when did you get home?" Turns out he treated his girlfriend for her birthday for the weekend with the money that I had given and tried to come home to clean up whatever mess was left before I got there. I have ignored Justin since then. I refuse to talk to him or show up places with other friends where he is. My friends are telling me that I'm, quote, dog crazy, end quote, and should forgive him since it was a special weekend for him and his girl. I'll go ahead on this one. Listen, if I ask you to take care of my pets, I trust you. I inherently trust you, right? Like if I ask you to come to my house and take care of my pets, I trust you with my pet's life, which is close to trusting you with my own. If I ask you to dog sit my pets and you say yes, and I come home and you haven't done that, and my pets were I got lucky there was a full bag of food for them to rip into and eat away from coming home to starved dogs, dude, ignoring you is the luckiest outcome for you. The luckiest outcome for you. All your friends can screw right off with that. Justin is one of the bigger butts we have done in a face and heel. Justin is uber, super, ultra, mega heel. I don't care. You should have said no if it was your girlfriend's birthday weekend. You should have said no if you needed to take her to dinner. That would have been fine. I'd have found someone else. I'd have found another arrangement. But the fact that you abandoned my dogs and we're going to show up last minute to clean and pretend like it never happened, that is certified grade A butthole.
Wow. Wow.
Certified.
Wow. First of all, we have to glean, guess, what we can from each of these stories. And to me, the person who left Justin in charge is obviously the heel because they had a trip plan. We've all had trip plans and something falls through. So out of desperation, she called Justin. Justin, buddy, Justin will do anything for you, but Justin, not a responsible guy. You know Justin. Justin's been your friend for years. You know Justin probably not going to take care the way that you would take care. You don't give Justin explicit instructions. Here's what you need to do at this time, at this time, at this time. Justin doesn't even want money, but you're paying him to watch the dogs, and then you get mad because Justin took the money and spent it on whatever he wanted. This is on you because Justin lives at home with his mom. Justin, if you've been in his car, it's dirty. I mean, there are bags in there from McDonald's from 3 years ago. But you expected Justin to come in and take care of your dogs and your house the way you would have. That makes you the heel because you wanted to go on vacation.
A lot of heavy lifting going on here.
Right. Well, again, these are, because we don't know all details, we have to imagine what the details are. And those are without a doubt the details.
No. Say no. Just say no. You can't do it. Just say no. You can't
All
do
right,
it.
all right, Rob.
If
In
you're
a situation where you've already put a buttload of money on going somewhere, like say to the Dominican or someplace.
Who would do this?
Yeah, I know. And the kennel that you were going to leave your dog at suddenly closes down, and you have nobody to watch the dog, and you have a buddy that you know he's not the most responsible, but you really want to go, and everyone has a friend like that in their life. You may even be that friend listening right now. I don't know. What do you do? Do you not go on the trip?
Correct. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
I'm going to do what some people do, and I'm going to generalize, and I'm going to come up with a percentage, which is just my percentage. I would say 95% of the people would go ahead and go and leave the money with their Justin.
If I don't trust you with my dog, if I have zero other outcome, zero other opportunity, I'm not going. My dog is family, man. Would you do that to your 12-year-old kid? If Justin was the only one to babysit your 12-year-old kid while you went on vacation, would you leave it with?
See how you're trying to turn this. I know some people treat their animals as if they're children, but they're not.
Right. They are still family.
They are living beings and need to be taken care of. But this person wanted to go on vacation so bad that they're willing to take a chance on Justin, even though they knew how he was.
All right, let's move on to another one because that one's going to make me mad. My fiance, it's a 42-year-old man and his 40-year-old fiance, decided as they are a little bit, not old, I'm 37, shut up, but, you know, they're getting married later in life. It's both of their first marriage, but they're both in their 40s at this point. They decided that they were going to have a reception. Now, this reception is good for, they got about 120 people, but they decided that they were not going to have any kids under the age of 16. So if you got a driver's license, you can come, basically. They said that they sent the invites out, and said 16 or up. That's it. No one under 16. Everybody else got to stay home. So one family member is extremely upset that their 2 kids, one child is 5, the other is 7, can't come to a family function. And to add, they already bought special outfits for them, and their one child was excited to come to a reception. Now they are saying they can't come. I told her, fine by us, your choice. Now the rest of the family is mad because I was so dismissive of the other family member, and say they're asking, why can't you just make an exception for these 2 kids? My response, because if I make an exception for those 2 kids, everybody's going to want to bring their kids, in which case it's not the reception that we want to have anymore. Face or heel, kids 16 and above, only at the wedding, Lonzo.
That's kind of an odd number, the 16.
It is a weird number.
Usually when these things happen, it's drinking age because they know they're going to get into some debauchery and they want to make sure that, it's illegal for everyone there. I think at your wedding, you make the rules. That's really what it comes down to. And if you're unhappy with it, that's on you. So there has to be a heel. It's the family with the kids.
I'm good with it.
I do think it's insensitive to a certain degree. But again, it's your wedding. They're older. I mean, they're in their 40s. I'm surprised they could get that many people to show up with their age. I mean, I think it's more accepting for people to go to younger people having weddings. Older people, generally it's a little more intimate and smaller. So
I'm 37. I've never been married.
I would say unless they're rich. And
Yeah.
Then it's different.
I'm 37, never been married. Lady friend's 37, never been married. We're talking about it. We're in the process, right? And so down the road, we've already decided, like, if we do that, we're probably doing no kids at the wedding, with the exception of my nephew. He's the exception because he's awesome, right?
But see, that's the thing. You can make the exception
Correct,
as
Mike.
long as you're willing to deal with the repercussions of the exception, that some people are going to be offended.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I am. Then again, we've also, like, my reception is not going to be like a wedding. It's going to be like a crawfish boil outside with just everybody bring an ice chest full of beer and we'll be good.
And some people may be, offended by you being dressed as Obi-Wan for the wedding. I mean,
Not Obi-Wan, Ric Flair.
Okay. All right.
Woo.
As long as the robe is immaculate.
Oh, of course it will be. Could be, will be. All right, here's my favorite one. My family and I, excuse me, my cousin David got married to his wife Lizzie this weekend. Lizzie had sent out invites via mail, had some rules written down: no kids allowed, black tie dress code, no +1s unless the bride and groom both approve of the +1. Pretty much bridezilla, the whole thing. I'm engaged and I thought my fiance would be included, but David said Lizzie is against my +1. I said that even if Lizzie is against it, my fiance has been in the family for years, even longer than Lizzie's has been around. Plus, he's a friend of David's as well, so he would come as a friend. David was frustrated, said Lizzie had set down most of these rules, and whenever he goes against her, she gets mad, so we should cut him some slack and just bear it for his sake and my fiance not come. All of my side of the family was upset that the wedding was kid-free, but it's fine. They got used to it. They got over it because they wanted to honor the wishes of the bride and groom. Despite the black tie dress code, most of her side of the family showed up in jeans and flannel shirts, the women mostly wearing T-length dresses. Our side of the family dressed very formal. The bride wore a white knee-length lace dress. The reception took place in a cabin by a lake, which had animal head trophies hanging on a wall. The only music was some slow pop songs and country music from a radio. Every time the DJ tried to play traditional music, the traditional reception music, the bride's family would demand that he changed it. The bride made a big deal out of the fact that we were dressed formally and how we overdid it, and that we upstaged her. After enough, I told her, it is your wedding, but it's not that tough to outdress you right now, is it? And left to go home to my fiance. Face and heel.
Sorry, the line, blame it all on my roots, keeps popping in my head.
Shut up in boots!
And ruined your black tie affair. But it's kind of the opposite, isn't it?
Yeah, you ruined your own black tie affair.
That's kind of, Lizzie obviously is the heel here. because she did not enforce the rules on both sides, and someone who supposedly meticulously, set everything up. It seems like a setup is what it does. This looks like there are nags out there, and when I say nags, I'm not talking about she's a female, she's a nag. No, a nag is someone who looks for ways to complain.
Yeah.
And they will set things up so that they have a reason to complain. That's what she is. She set this up so her new husband is going to have to deal with this for a really, really long time. And she's going to have him under her thumb because he's already said, well, I just don't really want her to do. She gets upset. So he's already, the term is whipped, but whipped by a nag is worse. So she's definitely the heel.
Oh, she's definitely the heel. First off, we've talked about this before. There's not much you can do that will hurt a lot of people's feelings, short of telling them to get all gussied up and then they show up and you're not, right? Now, me, I'm leaning into it. I'm owning it. But most people aren't me. Most people are gonna
not
be pretty
everyone
mad.
has your closet full of jackets either. So
Correct.
yeah.
Most people aren't. Most people are going to be upset. They're going to be embarrassed by that. You said black tie, and then your family showed up in jeans and flannel. Come on, man. This is going to be jeans and flannel. Have a jeans and flannel wedding. Do you understand how hype I would get if you sent invitations that said, nice chilly wedding, everybody show up in jeans and flannel, we're going to drink whiskey by a fire and have a wedding. Hell yeah, best wedding ever. I'm in.
Hey, does the
say that.
southern necktie count as the kind of Colonel Sanders wears? If it's black, it's
Black tie.
It's technically a black tie. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I'm just curious.
I used to be a bolo guy. I used to have multiple bolos. I don't anymore. I don't know where they went. But the point is,
Was that right after your ascot phase?
I'm versatile, man. I'm a man of many neck accessories. What do you want? Anyway, yeah, that's on the bride. And listen, eventually, when you act like that long enough, somebody's going to call you on the carpet. Somebody's going to have enough and confront you about it. Telling a bride, it's not that hard to upstage you, sweetheart, and then bailing is a power move. All right, a couple of texts that have come in. Texter said, Rob, if you didn't want Mark Ryan at your wedding, just say so. You don't have to ban all children. Texter says, letting you dress up like Ric Flair at your own wedding. Rob, she seems like a keeper. What are you waiting on? Hey, get out of my business, all right? Let me live. Let me live.
You kind of made it their business when you.
That's
put it
true.
out
I did
there,
say
so-
it on the radio to thousands of people.
You definitely did.
Fair enough. Texter said, I'm on board with everyone showing up dressed like that lawyer in Greenville. I'm missing something.
It requires some research.
It clearly does. Clearly. I'm sure your joke's amazing, but I am dumb and don't know what you're talking about. That's on me. Texter said, I thought Mark would be the one dressing up as Ric Flair since he's a big fan and everything. To be the man, you've got to beat the man. I've said that many times through my whole life.
But if you go back through his profile, you can find some bleached hair somewhere.
Woo.
Just saying.
Shasta writes in, and Shasta says, y'all should do a Faces and Heels podcast. I freaking love this segment. So does Lonzo.
Yeah, there are some people who do not. I would be one of them.
Texas says, it would be cool if you could post a poll on Twitter for Faces and Heels. We could probably get around to that. The problem is, so many of these stories are so long that it's hard to fit them into a $1.40. We got to get a wrestling podcast going. Then we'll do a Faces and Heels podcast.
Here's the reason why we haven't is because you're so stinking busy that I just haven't pursued it. I mean, dude, and you're about to get busier.
I leave here today to go call play-by-play for the Greenville Liberty match tonight. Tomorrow, back in the supporter section for the Greenville Triumph. Thursday, got a concert. Friday, leave for Georgia. Back Monday after a Braves game Monday night. And then I think next week I don't have anything to do, Lonzo.
Yet.
Do it next week.
Yet. We could, but
That's fair.
I don't want to do one I
fair.
mean, I don't want to do one. This needs to be something that happens every week. And football's coming.
Let's take a break. Come back here in just a minute. Time for Twitter trending topic to wrap it up on the Rob Brown Show. This, Rob, at your wedding, can I serve hot dogs with chili and cases of PBRs and White Claws? Yes. Yes, you can. It's the Fan Upstate.
You know, one thing you could do next week, Thor: Love and Thunder comes out next week. Want to go? He said Jesse Weiner. It shouldn't. That's what he did. He did.
Did
just,
he really?
He did just say that. I mean, is that accurate? Is that the guy's name?
We have actual, sincere, genuine breaking news when we come back.
Okay. Looks like we have no CBS. I mean, we're not all about to die, because if we are, I could break in right now.
No,
okay,
no.
all right.
No.
Because there's
It's
some,
actually sports breaking
okay,
news.
because there was some heaviness and seriousness to what you just said that had me a little concerned.
The ACC, well, I'll tell you when we come back, but the ACC has changed their scheduling starting next year. What we talked about yesterday is a thing now.
See, by watching the stream, you got the breaking news first.
Mm-hmm. All right, we do have sincere, honest, actual, for real, legit breaking news. This is coming from WYFF Channel 4 News, dropped just a few minutes ago. According to WYFF, the ACC has officially changed up their scheduling model. I am now at the ACC website, theacc.com, and they posted an article, again, just minutes ago, that says, quote, the Atlantic Coast Conference announced Tuesday a new football scheduling model that will go into effect beginning with the 2023 season. The new model is based on a 3-5-5 structure whereby each team will play 3 primary opponents annually and face the other 10 league teams twice during the 4-year cycle, 1 at home, 1 on the road. The schedule allows for each team to face all 13 conference opponents home and away at least once during the 4-year cycle. The structure was adopted by the league's athletic directors and faculty athletic representatives earlier today. The new schedule will eliminate the Atlantic and Coastal divisions, with all 14 schools competing in one division beginning in 2023. The top 2 teams based on conference winning percentage will compete in the Subway ACC Football Championship game on the first Saturday in December at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. In May, the NCAA Division I Council approved the deregulation of the current rule that had limited an individual conference's autonomy to determine their football championship game participants. According to ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips, quote, "The future ACC football scheduling model provides significant enhancements for our schools and conference, with the most important being our student athletes having the opportunity to play every school, both home and away, over a 4-year period. We appreciate the thoughtful discussions within our membership, including the head football coaches and athletic directors. In the end, it was clear this model is in the best interest of our student athletes, programs, and fans at this time," end quote. As it stands right now, the rivalries will be as followed. Clemson's 3 continuous rivals will be FSU, Georgia Tech, and NC State, as was predicted on yesterday's show. Boston College will have Miami, Pitt, and Syracuse. Duke will get North Carolina, NC State, and Wake. FSU will have Clemson, Miami, and Syracuse. Georgia Tech will have Clemson, Louisville, and Wake Forest. Louisville will get G-Tech, Miami, and Virginia. Miami will play Boston College, FSU, and Louisville. North Carolina will play Duke, NC State, and Virginia. NC State will play Clemson, Duke, and North Carolina. Pitt will play Boston College, Syracuse, and Virginia Tech. Syracuse will play Boston College, Florida State, and Pitt. Virginia will play Louisville, North Carolina, and Va Tech. Va Tech will play Pitt, Virginia, and Wake will play Duke, Georgia Tech, and Virginia Tech. So there it is. That's where we stand right now. The ACC, starting in 2023, will now play a 3-5-5 structure, each team playing 3 primary opponents every year, combined with home and away against the other 10, rotating out. That breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Smarter bets start with BetQL. Download the BetQL app or visit BetQL.com today.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, time for Twitter trending topics, where I tell Rob what is trending on the internet, and then he'll tell everybody what it means. You know, you mess up a word, you go with it. You make people think you did it on purpose.
All right, what's trending on Twitter?
The first thing trending on Twitter is John Cena.
He showed up last night on Monday Night Raw to celebrate his WWE 20th year birthday. First off, Vince, go away. Just go away. Just go away for a little while. You got go home heat, buddy. Go away for a little while. But look, John came out. John did John Cena stuff. He had a couple of entertaining segments backstage with the Street Profits and others. He came out. He gave a very John Cena speech. It was good. It was enjoyable. And then he left. What I appreciated about it, though, is that they lowered the guard a little bit and they let Bryan Danielson / Daniel Bryan and Chris Jericho and Paul White, friend of the show, The Big Show, and others who are now in other companies, specifically AEW, give a little respect.
Which is why it's trending, by the way,
Yeah.
and all those other names are too. When the first one, I forget who showed up first, but I was like, oh, okay.
It was, I know, I did the same thing. Who was it?
And when they got to Bryan Danielson, they put his name as Daniel Bryan,
Bryan, yeah.
which I was curious about that too. But Jericho, I think Jericho
was last. I think it was Big Show. I think it was Big Show was first. In fact, it was Big Show because I was like, oh, it's Paul, friend of the show, Paul.
Yeah, my first thought is he's still with AEW, and then they played a couple other ones.
Yeah.
Someone said online, asked Jericho if he did it right after he hit Okada with the fireball, and he said yes.
Fireball!
Because he's a wizard. All right, the next thing that's trending is Mel Brooks.
It is Mel Brooks' 96th birthday today. Listen, you know what question I'm tired? Could they get away with making Blazing Saddles today? Yes, they could if they had somebody as genius as Mel Brooks making it. Blazing Saddles is not offensive. It's not. It's genuinely still hilarious, even to Liberob the Woke Warrior.
Well, and
But
actually,
you have to have a Mel Brooks caliber genius to pull it off.
they're using the racism, the biases, and stuff as it's a learning tool.
It's a trope. It's a comedy trope.
For sure. Because Bart is trolling them all.
Yeah.
And
It's amazing. Excuse me
it really
while
is.
I whip this out. Like, it's such a great movie. If you watch that movie and think the people would cancel this because of the the racism, it's the point. It's the point. Somebody better go get a big old bag of nickels. Oh, I love that movie. So good. Mel Brooks is a comedy
This is my
genius.
shooting hand.
The Frisco Kid. Nobody shoot faster than the Frisco Kid. Mongo! Mongo's sad.
Mongo just pawned in Game of Life.
That's it for us. Jim Rome's up next to take you through the jungle. Mark Ryan and Diesel are here at 3 for Offsides. Have a great rest of your day, ladies and gentlemen. We're back tomorrow to do it all over again on the midweek edition of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Stream, thank you guys as always. You're amazing.